Okay, welcome to our CSI Midlands game. This is session, I believe, 15. When we last left our heroes, they had stopped in the small Dolmenwood town of Prigwort. They'd enjoyed some heady local beverages. Jackdaw had purchased some spiffy new clothes for himself to replace his shredded covering of threadbare scarves, and Friar Dunstan had left one of his items with a local enchanter by the name of Mostelmeyer Droud, who was going to analyse it for him for a price, obviously, and work out the precise nature of this magical item. Whilst they were enjoying their beverages in Rap Tappens, one of the local taverns, I think it's fair to say that Lieutenant Uffington and Big Mick himself got a little bit squiffy on the various boozes that were on offer. Now, Big Mick, having recently been blessed with something of an increase in self-confidence and a slight tweak to the magnetism of his personality after their encounter with Princess Snowfall at Dusk and the lover that they had reunited her with, Sir Chide, decided to put that charisma to the test. And hearing two young, carefree, slightly flirtatious milkmaids laughing in the little booth next door, decided to have a little wander round and see what was going on. So he wandered round, started chatting. One thing led to another. Big Mick and the young ladies headed upstairs to do what carefree young people in a village before like a festival, when they're a bit tipsy, tend to do. And there were some noises, some shuffling of furniture, some creaking of bed springs, and some loud bumping noises from upstairs that we won't dwell on in too great detail, which left Jackdaw, the Friar, and the good lieutenant in little doubt as to what sort of recreational activities were being enjoyed upstairs at the Rap Tappen. All of this, however, came to a potentially slightly sticky resolution, if you'll forgive the pun, when the door slammed open and a furious-looking farmer stormed in, calling out the names of his daughters, Rachel and Maria, shouting for them and to try and find out where they were. And as he was looking around, not able to decide where they were, from upstairs there was a which led to him looking up with a look of furious anger and then running up the stairs shouting out the names of his daughters. He was followed at a small distance up the stairs by the non-occupied members of the group, obviously the Friar, Jackdaw, and Lieutenant Uffington. Jackdaw paying close attention to the irate farmer, probably resting a hand on one of his many knives as they went up the stairs, and that is where we are going to pick up now. So we're going to pick up from the point of view of Jackdaw, who is sort of closest behind the irate farmer, so that he can study him. The farmer stomps his way up the stairs. You can still hear the laughter and the creaking from inside the room. Obviously, with whatever strenuous activity they're involved in, they've not really heard the stomping footsteps of the farmer. He throws open this door with a loud clatter, and just past him as he stares into the room aghast, you can see your companion, Big Mick, and these two young milkmaids, Rachel and Maria Nerne, in flagrante delicto. I can't really say that properly, but you get the idea. They are in a state of undress. The bedclothes are thrown everywhere. Obviously, like most beds in this sort of pseudo-medieval time period, it's basically hay with some sheets over, so there's bits of hay everywhere. There's a few bits of straw sort of drifting down through the air, attesting to the energetic nature of and the newfound vigour of Big Mick's increased force of personality. as he throws the door open, he looks in aghast, and the first you're aware of his presence, Big Mick, is when you hear this booming, deep voice go, "Rachel! Maria!" And you look up, untangling yourself from these two milkmaids that you've been having a glorious time with. To see this now, slightly out of breath, slightly pudgy farmer, a little bit red-faced, looks absolutely furious. He's staring daggers at you, but he looks as though he's gone a little bit to seed, but other than that, he's fairly sort of fit, to be honest. He's probably, like I say, he's been working on like the milk farm for most of his life, so he's got that sort of wiry musculature that you wouldn't associate with bodybuilders, but a sort of a solid working man's build. Although, like I say, he's getting on a little bit now, so he's obviously not in his prime. And as you look up, you see him stood there like, as he sees his two young daughters, the apples of his eye, intertwined with this stranger to the village, leaving no doubt as to what has been occurring in this chamber. So all I'm going to ask you guys to do at the minute, obviously this is an initiative in terms of like combat initiative or anything like that. However, what I'm going to ask you guys to do is Big Mick and Jackdaw, I'm going to ask you to both roll me a d10. I will roll one for the farmer, and it's just to determine whether you get to go before him, basically. Okay, so let's see what the farmer gets. Okay, so obviously the farmer, Cole and Ernie, is a little bit, he's sort of like leaning on the side. He's a bit like, because he's just stomped up the stairs, and he's obviously not really used to that sort of strenuous activity. Like I say, he's getting on a bit. So both of you will get to go before him. And in fact, it's Big Mick who get galvanised into action by the sudden appearance of this farmer and the slamming of the door. You actually get to go first, Mick. So what do you do?
I'm going to jump up and grab my sheepskin coat and chuck my coat on. I don't want to be standing here in the all together.
Okay.
I want that comfort and security of my sheepskin coat on.
No problems. You jump up and you start like scrabbling and grabbing your clothes and putting them on. Jackdaw, you see Big Mick sort of springs into action with a speed that you're probably a little bit unaccustomed to seeing from the big fellow, but like galvanised into action. He's like grabbing all of his clothes, like pulling his socks on, putting his coat on, trying to make himself as presentable as possible. You can see the farmer still like he's been caught in slow motion. He's like, what do you do?
Well, I have my knife out, as I do. I think I'm going to stare at Mick, try and catch his eyes with the
Yes. So Mick,
with the quoi?
As you're sort of pulling your sheepskin coat round you, like some sort of slightly chubby male Marilyn Monroe, you see Jackdaw like holding a knife behind this farmer, like.
Is there a window in the room?
There is a single small window. You might just fit through it, but you could certainly squeeze through it if you took your time. But obviously, if you try and jump through it quickly, it might be a bit of a tight squeeze.
Would the farmer fit through it?
Again, a little bit of a tight squeeze, but if enough force was applied, probably.
I look back at Jackdaw and like look at the window like.
So whilst you're doing that and you're making these gestures, the farmer's like, "Rachel, Maria, what are you doing, girls?" At which point the two women seeming to like, who've previously been having like a grand old time with Big Mick, they've been loving life. They spot their father and they're obviously quite embarrassed. Their cheeks flush and they're likewise sort of scrabbling for the covers to wrap themselves up in. the farmer Cole Nerney continues, obviously, as sort of Friar Dunstan and the lieutenant are sort of moving up behind you, Jackdaw, and can now sort of see and hear what's going on. And he's like, "Girls, both of you, oh, what would your dear mother say? God rest her soul." And a note of sadness comes into his voice at the end of it. They start stammering as though they're trying to think of something to say, as they're sort of like shamefacedly trying to like gather their clothes up. Okay, Mick, what are you doing?
Well, now I've got my clothes on, and this bloke's not directly attacking me.
He seems like initially he came up and he was like, there's like a fury on his face when he slung open the door, but then he like, when he saw like both of his young daughters, who, given that he's just said his wife's passed away, presumably he's like the only one to care for them, seeing them both with like some stranger, it's almost like taken the wind out of his sails, and he's just like a look of shock, and so like he can't really believe what he's seeing.
I think I'm just going to play it cool. I'm just going to get my stuff together, casually just finish up buttoning my coat. I'll just like nod my head to the young ladies and kind of waltz on by, sort of like.
Okay, as you go to waltz on past him, he like puts his hand out to like block the door, not to like push you back in or anything, just to like stop you from like walking out. And he looks at you dead in the eyes, and he says, "Well, I suppose in the sort of pragmatic way that a village farmer might do," he says, "Well, I suppose what's done is done. You'll have to marry one of them, though."
You don't seriously want me to marry one of your daughters, do you?
He says, "Aye, that's how we do. You might call us old-fashioned around here, but that's how we do things. If you've lain with a woman, then you marry the woman."
Clearly you don't know who I am.
He's like, "Oh, if only there was a priest here to conduct the ceremony, we could get right on with it." Then you see him like looking around. Then his eyes lock onto Friar Dunstan, who's obviously like wearing clothing that identifies him as a man of the cloth. And he's like, "Oh, blessed bitter gale! It's fate. It's obviously meant to happen. There's a priest right here." He says, "Father, surely you'll marry this young man to one of my lovely daughters."
Yeah, but how do I choose between them?
He says, "Well, I don't know, but you'll have to choose." I say, "You'll have to choose."
Well, but that's hardly right, is it? I mean,
He says,
obviously
he says, "Well, I didn't get you into this situation, young man." He says, "You reap what you sow." I say, "You reap what you sow."
Yeah, but you know, one of them is going to be devastated. Obviously, you know, one gets the catch of a lifetime, and the other one ends up with nothing.
He says, "Well, I dare say the other will make a fine match for some of the gentlemen. After all, it's market day in a couple of days. There'll be plenty of gentlemen about, and they're both of marrying age. But, well, you've got to choose. That's the right of it."
I hold up my knife again and look at Mick meaningfully.
Yeah, Jack goes behind him like.
Yeah, third option. Third option.
So I would like to kind of pull the farmer aside and
That's fine.
explain that Big Mick is not marriage material.
He says,
For,
he says, "Listen, Father, I don't mean to gainsay you. I'm a good religious man myself. Attend church every Sunday. Attend all the ceremonies. I follow the faith of Gale. And does it not say in the holy books that the union of a man and a woman is a sacred thing?"
It does, but the union of a man and multiple women is probably not so much.
"Oh, I agree with you, Father. I quite agree with you. That's why I'm saying I'll have to choose. Say I'll have to choose."
Is there perhaps a reward that he could give you that would make you think that your daughters would be better married to other men, since there are more men coming for the...
Okay, make me a charisma roll.
Which I would like to do with a D30.
Yeah,
if
that's
we're still
absolutely
doing that.
fine. So, just to let anyone know who's watching this, we have a house rule where once per game you can use a D30. However, if you fail, as Fry Dunstan has just done,
Ugh.
you fail really badly. So, what's actually happening is, as you've been talking, Fry Dunstan, you become aware that like a lot of other people in the tavern, sort of drawn by the noise that this farmer's making as he's like ranting, they've all sort of crowded into the stair, and it's actually quite crowded on the stairway as people are like looking over each other trying to find out what's going on. And you've got the sense that as you go on, this guy is quite a devout person, and he sincerely believes that, you know, if you've lay with someone, you should marry them. Like you shouldn't be going around just sort of gadding about sleeping with young maidens. You know, you should make a commitment to them. And he's quite determined that as it's going on, you can hear like this rumble of conversation spreading out through the thickening crowd of people going like, "Oh, there's going to be a wedding. Oh, that stranger's going to marry one of Farmer Nerney's daughters." That people are, oh, we wonder which one of them he's going to marry. Oh, there'll be a wedding. I wonder if they have the wedding by the what? And this like conversation's like spreading out to pretty much everyone in the Wrapped Happen. To like by the time you've sort of got to the point Fry where you're like, I'm not going to dissuade him. You can even hear people downstairs being like, "Oh, there's going to be a wedding by the wall in the village." So pretty much everyone in Wrapped Happens is now aware of this current situation, and as far as everyone in the tavern's concerned, like, there's going to be a wedding. You can even hear like some of the women downstairs talking about, "Oh, they're going to have to buy a new hat to go to the wedding."
I feel like if I'm going to have to get married, I really got to say that I ought to be marrying both of them. To be fair, you know, because how am I supposed to choose? It seems.
Well, we can't have that sort of farmer. That's bigamy. He
Well,
says,
not
"Oh,
where
that's a great sin."
Not
He
where
says,
I
"No,
come
you'll
from.
have to make your mind." Well, I don't know where you come from, but this is Prigwort. We do things proper in Prigwort. You'll have to make your mind up. I say you'll have to make your mind up, young man.
I come from Slaughter Ward, and you get what you're given. You take what you can.
And he says, "Well, I don't know how they do things where you come from, but here in Prigwort we do things proper, the way Gale said it should be done." The union between a man and a woman is a sacred thing in the eyes of the Church of Gale. I say a sacred thing.
You're a bit
Let
slow
no man
catching.
tear it asunder. That's what it says in the book.
You're a bit slow catching on. There's like we're talking about the union between a man and multiple women here. This is what I'm trying to
says,
say. I'm
that's
trying to
not-
keep all this fair and above board.
That might be what you're talking about, son, but that's not what I'm talking about. I say you'll have to choose one of them and one only.
Well, I mean,
He says,
they're
"Look,
both
it's
nice
either
girls.
my
I mean,
eldest, Rachel, or my youngest, Maria. You're just going to have to choose, young man. If you don't like that, you shouldn't have got yourself into this. You should have thought of that beforehand, shouldn't you?"
well, clearly we need to talk about dowries now. We need to establish what it's worth to take one off your hands. Like,
He says, I've got a little bit put by. I mean, not a great deal. I'm a dairy farmer. I'm not a rich man. But I've got a little bit put by. Obviously, if you were to pick one of my daughters and marry them, then of course, like when I eventually pass on, the farmstead would go to you.
It's getting better all the time, this offer.
Obviously, once I'd passed, and that maybe not for a good many years, you'd be the head dairyman of Prigwort.
Yeah, well, I feel like I could fulfil the role there. So I need to give this a little bit of consideration. I may need to have another drink.
He says, "Aye, well, we should probably give the girls a little time to get themselves together, and we should probably go down like men should, and we should sit down and we should discuss sensibly like which one of them you're going to choose. Now, since you're going to be my future son-in-law, I don't mind getting you a drink in at the bar, and we'll sit down and we'll talk about this like sensible people. How's that sound to you, young man?"
Well, that sounds most agreeable.
Right, you are then. Right, finish get all your clobber together, and we'll go downstairs and we'll talk about it.
Righto.
And he gives you a bit of time to get your clothes together.
Yeah.
We cut to a scene a few moments later. The two girls, Rachel and Maria, sort of stood in the background looking a bit sheepish, but like they're dressed now. Obviously, you're dressed. You sat around a table. The farmer, Cole Nerney, is sat opposite you, and he says, "Now then, if you're going to be my son-in-law, I suppose I best ask your name."
Michael is my name.
Michael, good to meet you. I'm Michael what?
Michael, son of the butcher.
Michael Butcher,
Butcher,
right. Right, well, I'm Cole Nerney. You've already met my daughters, Rachel and Maria.
I certainly have. And they are a credit to you, sir.
Aye. He says, well, it's not been easy raising two girls since their mother passed away of the swamp fever a few years ago, but I've done my best. I've raised them the best I know how, and they've been assets to me on the farm. I'm making sure that everyone in Prigwart's got milk. He says, now, what would you like as a beverage?
What was that? That was that blue one. That blue one was about the best one, I seem to recall.
He says, oh,
The Effa.
you mean Effa Blue?
Effa Blue, that's the one.
He says, fine. He says, wrap tappen, one Effa Blue for young Michael, and I'll have a Buckland Fizz for me, please. Wrap tappen.
Buckland Fizz? I don't remember that one.
He says, aye. He says, Buckland Fizz. He says, so lovely light brew, quite fizzy. I like it because one of the things I've noticed about it is when you drink a fair bit of it, as I like to do on my off days, you know, I don't have many days off, but when I do, I like to relax. I find that when you drink that, it gives you the most vivid, most colourful and unusual dreams.
No, I'll have to remember that.
These two pewter tankards are brought over. He throws like a handful of silver shillings to wrap tappen. You see this pint put down in front of him. It's this clear, sort of bubbly, effervescent liquid, and you are given a pint of this aquamarine ether blue with this sort of weird, like, custardy aroma to it, which you're familiar with from previously. He leans over the table and like chinks his tankard together with yours, and
Cheers.
he has a sip of it, and he says, "Oh, I'm sorry. Did your and he seems to notice the rest of you guys sort of stood around. Did your friends want one as well?"
Oh yeah, I've been most remiss in my.
That's all right. Since you're going to be my son-in-law, I don't mind.
It's all a bit sudden for me. You got to understand. These are my companions. You've met the friar there, Friar Dunstan. Yeah, we've got Jackdaw.
Hi.
Yeah. Pay no heed to his demeanour.
He's half naked.
Yeah, no, he's fine. Just
What, you want to marry me now?
Oh, no fear. Look at how skinny you are. I think I'd break you in two.
and the good lieutenant here is of noble blood. So we
Pleasure, sir.
Phoenix.
And he sort
we have to bow and scrape accordingly.
he says, "Righto, wrap tappen. We'll have another of them three ether blue." And he like passes him some more silver coins, and you're each given this strange sort of custardy smelling like aquamarine beverage.
Oh, that's the custard one, is it?
Yeah, it's the one that produces feelings of a languid eroticism.
Yeah, that's the one.
It's the one that got you in trouble last time.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, that's what I thought.
So you're all sat down around this table in one of these booths. The curtains are drawn to give you a bit of privacy. Obviously, the girls are sort of stood in a corner behind their father. You look a bit sheepish. He says, "Right, now then, let's get down to it, young man. You've got a choice to make." I say you've got a choice to make.
Was either of these two girls a noticeably better choice?
What criteria are you judging that by?
Well, I'm going to go on. Was any of them more chatty than the others?
Okay, you notice that the older girl, Rachel, appeared to be a bit more confident, a bit more sort of chatty, a bit more sort of forthright. A younger sister, Maria, seemed a little bit shy and maybe a little bit more sort of innocent of the ways of the world. You know, sort of. You get the feeling that when they're sort of going around, it's mainly the elder sister, Rachel, who's sort of in charge, as it were.
Yeah, she might be a bit of a pain in the arse. Maybe go for that quiet one. She's going to give me less stick when I'm out with the lads.
What, you mean us? When you're out with us?
When I'm out
in the sewer?
When I'm out up the Abbey of St. Cloud or whatever. When I'm off to the Abbey, she's not going to be getting in my ear hole telling me I've got to get the hoovering done or something. What about childbearing? What about them old childbearing hips? Because that's what you look for in days gone by for the
older of the two girls, Rachel, is obviously older and sort of more developed physically, I suppose you'd say, due to her age. Whereas the other one is younger. She has a slighter build. I mean, they're both of age in the setting, but one of them is obviously more sort of experienced in the ways of the world than the other.
I've got to think about my heir and the future dynasty, you know. The butcher name has to. It's a tricky one.
You're all sort of supping while you're thinking about this. The Cole puts down his flag, and you see he's drunk about half of it, and he says, well then, young Michael, which of them is it to be? And he looks at his daughters.
Well, the thing is, I need a little bit longer to decide. I think I need a bit of wise counsel from the lieutenant. He must know about all this breeding business and bloodlines and stuff like that. That's all nobles ever go on about, isn't it? Airs and graces.
I'll have another one of these first.
The farmer leans over and he says, I never trust a man who doesn't have a drink before he sits down to a serious conversation. He chinks his flagon with you, Lieutenant, and your good health, sir.
Cheers. Cheers. Well, I think Rachel would be a good choice. Michael?
Do you know what? Funnily, you should say that. Just as soon as I asked you, I thought, yeah, I'm tending towards Rachel myself. Maybe I should leave the younger one for some whippersnapper.
You notice that Maria looks a little bit disappointed, whereas Rachel has like a big smile on her face.
Well, that's her old man's fault. I mean, I would have happily taken them both on. But I can see how that gets frowned upon around these parts. We're not all as progressive as the folk from Slaughterwood.
Well, obviously, Great London is like the cosmopolitan heart of the Havenlands. This is some backwoods village in the Dolmen wood. Everything's quite traditional around here. You've noticed when you're wandering around that like anyone who sort of stands out, obviously like Brandy Boyle, Mostelmeyer, they're sort of, it's very remarked upon. They're seen as being like very odd and very strange because they're not sort of down with the traditional ways. Whereas most people, pretty traditional around these parts.
Yeah, well,
the farmer says, so it's to be Rachel then, is it, young Michael?
Well, it seems right. I mean, she's got to be the daughter you're most keen to get married off, with her being of, childbearing age. I mean, they're both lovely girls, of course, but you forced me to make a choice. So Rachel, it is.
He
And
says, "Aye, well, it'll do me good to know that there's going to be someone to look after the dairy when I've gone to my rest."
yeah, well, you can count on old Michael.
He nods and he sort of steps up, walks around the table, sort of throws open the curtain in the little booth that you're in, and in a loud, bellowing voice, he shouts out. He says, "Let the bells ring out! Let the father of the church come down! We're going to have a wedding! It's going to be a market day wedding, very auspicious. There'll be to welcome my new son-in-law, Michael Butcher, to the village. Going to wed my lovely daughter, Rachel. Going to get married by the wall." And you hear a lot of people like, "Oh yeah, that's like obviously that's quite a traditional thing to get like married by that little bit of wall in the village." And like people are like, "Oh yeah," and people are like, "Oh yeah, market day. There'll be loads of people there. Yeah, that's good luck, that is." And you can hear like this general like hubbub of conversation. He's like, the farmer sort of turns back and he's like, "Right, now I don't want to cause any offence because I can see you've got your own personal confessor with you, young Michael," and he gestures at Friar Dunstan. Now it is traditional for the priest of the parish, which would be one Father Doyle, to conduct the ceremony. However, since I'm sure we could be flexible on that. Perhaps a joint ceremony with both the two involved.
I want no part in this.
Oh, Father Doyle, it is then. Splendid. He turns around to like the people and he's like, "Father Doyle will be conducting the ceremony by the wall. I shall go and speak to him as soon as possible, as soon as we've got a little bit of business settled. But make sure you're all in attendance at marking day for the wedding of my daughter Rachel to my new son-in-law, Michael Butcher." And like a lot of people are basically the whole place is, yeah, a couple of people do actually like clap and a couple of people are like, "Aye, aye." And there's a bit of a hubbub going on and like a few people are sort of nodding at you and smiling and sort of giving you like the thumbs up, Mick.
Yeah, a few shaking hands.
Yeah, you get the feeling that aside from like market day, like not a lot really happens in this village. So as soon as they're like, "Oh, wedding," like some sort of like excuse to like have a load of drinks and like a bit of food, everyone's like, "Oh yes."
Oh yes.
And he's like, "Right then, I suppose I best get busy. After all, there's preparations to make. I'll need to go and speak to Father Doyle. Aye, it'll be a push, but we'll get it ready by market day, young Michael. You see if we don't."
Excellent. I'll leave it in your capables.
Well, where are you staying, young Michael?
That's a good question. We haven't established that yet. We've only just arrived.
Oh well, I insist. Then you and your friends must stay at Dairy with us.
Ah, splendid.
It's on the outskirts of the town. I'll take you there on my way to go and see Father Doyle. I insist. You must, if you're going to be my son-in-law and you're going to take over the running of the place one day, you must see your new place, so to speak, your future place. I won't hear a word against it, young Michael.
No, yeah, well, yeah, but lead the way.
Obviously, your friends are welcome as well. You know, any friend of my future son-in-law's.
Yeah, I'll just look around the guys and see if everybody's in favour of that.
Yeah?
Yeah, well, why not? Why not indeed?
It's the best offer we've got, so...
I like to imagine when you look past that Friar Dunstan, he's like... Yeah. Okay, so you're all led to the outskirts of the town, and as you start getting more towards the sort of western edge of the town, you can see there's a sort of a bit of a clearing where some of the trees have been cleared away, so there's like fields, etc. You can see there's like a big herd of longhorn cows grazing there, and as you're walking up, the farmer Cole is telling you that these are the famous Nerney Longhorns, and he's like pointing them out, and he's like, and of course we've got the bullock over there in that pasture, and these are the milkers over there. You see the milking shed just there. He said, we've got a couple of girls working in there and a couple of young lads who take them out to pasture and make sure they get fed and bring them in the winter, you know. But we're quite lucky. And he starts like rambling on about how like, the weather's like amazing here because like it's never really winter, so like the cows can stay out pretty much all year round eating grass and he's like, oh, because it's like pretty much always spring/summer here, the grass is always luscious and green, which makes for amazing milk. And they've got this amazing water that comes down from Lake Mistmere, which is excellent for the beers, and it's also good for the cows as well. So he's saying that's what makes the Nerney milkers the finest milkers this side of the Dolmen Wood.
So that's a bit unusual then, isn't it? Really?
How do you mean?
It's never winter or it's always spring and summer.
He says, oh, I bet you've not heard the stories, have you? You being like from foreign climes and all that.
Well, that's right. We have certainly not heard any stories of never-ending spring and summer.
So he gets you all like settled in this sort of farms, this sort of dairy farm. You know, barns is like a little farmhouse and whatever. He gets you settled in there. He sat down and he explained about this, and he goes, "All right, well, in times past, this whole forest, the whole Dolmen Wood, was blanketed in deepest winter, permanent winter." Snow everywhere, cold enough to freeze the balls off a brass monkey. And he said, winter never ending. And over that, there was this ancient fairy king who was the king of winter. Now, back in the day, the good church folk and some of the other folk at the Dolmen Wold, well, they decided, well, that they weren't having that. They weren't kowtowing to no fairy king. So they all united together, lots of knights and fighting, and they went to war against this fairy king. And eventually, they cast him out of the forest. And when he went out of the forest, the winter went with him. And it's never come back no since. And ever since then, we've never been touched by a cold and a winter. It's always like it is now. Occasionally a little bit colder, but never so that it damaged the crops, nor the cows, nor nothing. And that's how it's been since my time, my father's time, my grandfather's time, and it's before him.
Well, you're truly blessed by the sounds of things.
He says,
What?
aye, it was at a great cost, though. Many noble knights died fighting that final battle. They still tell legends of the valiant Sir Chide who died in the final battle to make sure that the Winter King were banished from Forest.
Oh, I've heard of this Chide. Yes.
Aye, rumours have it he was buried somewhere in Forest after he died, but no one knows where that was. After that, everything got a little bit sort of muddled. You know, the people were trying to look after their dead and trying to work out what was happening, and a lot of stuff got lost or mislaid. A lot of the old religious places were buried or lost, and many of them have never been recovered. After all, the forest's a dangerous place.
Talking of religious places, you don't know of this old abbey at all, do you? St. Clewids or some such?
He says, well, I have heard rumours there was supposed to be like an abbey or a church or some such. I think it was somewhere to west of here near the lake, although I've never really been much outside the village myself. Occasionally I take some animals up to Harrowmore, you know, if the price is right, but most of the time, if they want something, they just come down here for market day. We have it every Friday, so there's not much point for me to leave the village, to be honest.
Exactly. No, yeah.
After all, everything I want's here. Why would I want to leave?
No, indeed. I was
only
starting to think the same thing myself, actually.
Aye. He says, "Ah, you're right." And well, you might think it. Only thing that's worried me recently is, like I said, with my wife gone, who was gonna? My mind's turned to who was gonna carry on the farm when I passed on, and I may have said a whispered prayer or two to Gail to give me some answers, and he has provided. Here you are, young Michael.
There you go. You got no
to carry
worries
on my milking legacy.
You got no worries on that score now. From butcher to milkman, I'm your man.
He says, with your with your experience of animals, that'll probably come invaluable.
Oh yeah,
He says,
I know. I know one end of a cow from another.
We've never really gone in for the meat trade. We've mostly focused on like the milk, but I dare say when this place is yours, well, whenever Gail willing, I won't pass for a few years yet, but when the place is yours, if you wanted to look into expanding it, well, it'll be your business then. I mean, I'd just be happy that the place was keeping going. After all, it's been in my family for generations.
Well, there you go. And you never had a son, unfortunately.
No, alas not.
Oh well.
But look, now my prayers have been answered.
Yeah. So, what's for dinner?
He says, oh, well, he says, Rachel's a good cook. She makes a mean stew. And we've got some potatoes.
Well, that would be mighty fine. I'm thinking me and my companions are likely headed out. What day is it? Is the market tomorrow or?
No, it's Wednesday at the minute. We're still on the same day as previously, so there's a couple of days until market.
Yeah, we might be headed out having a little look around tomorrow. So
well, that's fine.
Might be best for a bit of food and maybe perhaps an early night.
He says, well, as long as you're back for Friday, that's when wedding will be.
Oh yeah. And
he says, obviously, he says we've got one of the old. You can see I've moved into this smaller cottage. We did used to use the slightly bigger building, but when the wife passed on, didn't seem right. Me sort of rattling around the bigger building, so I moved into this little. Originally, it was one of the smaller sort of farmhands' houses. But I dare say when you and Rachel are busy with your married business, you'll want to move into the larger building, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Obviously, you'll need a bit of your privacy when you're married.
Indeed, and I don't wish to pry, but what was the what led to your wife's unfortunate demise? What did for her?
Oh, it was the swamp fever. Bless her, she was a good woman.
Oh, you said, yeah.
Aye, well, you see, over to the west of here, if you go south a bit, following the river from Lake Mistmere, the ground gets all boggy and swampy, and it can be quite treacherous. But there's plants and such like that grow around there that you don't find in other parts around here. And my wife, she used to go and collect some of those when times were a little bit on the lean side, and she'd sell them to make a few extra coins here and there. But last time she came back, it started off with just like a little cough, and we thought, thought nothing of it. Maybe the damp's got to her a bit, I mean, I know we don't have winter around here, but it still gets a bit colder in the evenings, as I'm sure you've found out. I just saw the damp had got to her, but it got steadily worse, and well, by the time we had someone look at her, they said it was a swamp fever, and there was nothing they could do. I looked after her as best as I could with the help of my daughters, and you can see he's like struggling to sort of like keep back a tear or two, and he says, "Ah, she were a good woman, love of my life."
I'll just give him a pat on the old shoulder and go, yeah.
And he's like, but enough of that. We don't need to dwell on.
No.
We don't need to dwell on my sadness. We should be focusing on your future happiness.
As well, we should, yeah.
But anyway, why don't you and your friends go and stay in the main farmhouse? Get used to it, 'cause that's where you'll be living, and you can have a bit of privacy in there. You can rest yourselves up. I'll go and talk to Father Doyle at the church and start making the arrangements. And you might want to go and see a brandy bar and get yourself some togs, for wedding and like. Got to turn out in your Friday best, don't you?
Yeah, I was thinking that.
He says, well, you'll have to be quick about it. He said he only takes clothing by appointment. He says, what you want to do, if you want to go and see Brandy Man, he says, get yourself down to Wrinkled Meddler, have a word with the lass in there, and she'll make you an appointment. But like I said, I'd be quick about it. It can take a couple of days to get an appointment. You ain't got much time, Michael.
Right, well...
But anyway, why don't you young fellows head over to the main farmhouse building? You can rest up. He's like, he pulls out like a little barrel, which has obviously got like beer in it. He's like, take this with you, you know, set yourselves in. It's only like a little sort of keg. He's like, take that with you, set yourselves in. You'll find some like dried provisions and whatnot set aside, you know, for like emergencies. Help yourselves to them. If you need anything else, I'll be down here in this in the farmhand's house. So if you need anything, just let me know. Obviously, my daughters will stay here. You know, I mean, it wouldn't be right before the wedding again. But don't you worry, you won't have long to wait, young Michael, and I'm sure Rachel will make you a wonderful wife.
I have no doubt about that, and thank you for your hospitality. We shall get out from under your feet now and allow you to get about your dairying business.
Not a problem. And he sort of shoos you out and sort of shoos you guys towards this slightly larger farm building, which, like I say, was once his home, but now he's in like a little farmhands building. And you find yourself sat in this fairly nice sort of farm cottage. Like you said, there's some like crackers and cheese and a few like bits of like dried meat put aside. You've got this little cask. There's some of the provisions there, enough for you to like feed yourselves. There's like a couple of sort of bed rolls and whatnot. You can make yourself reasonably comfortable here. There's a fireplace. It's not lit, but you can easily like gather some wood from the wood pile and start it up. But you guys finally have a chance to sort of sit down in this farmhouse. There's no one else in it but the four of you. You get a bit of a fire going. It's crackling away in the hearth. It's starting to get dark outside, but you finally have time to like just chill out and just have a little bit of a discussion. So I'm going to turn over to you guys to discuss whatsoever you may wish. Over to you.
Well, that's a bit of a turn up for the books. Quite an eventful day on the whole, I feel.
Yeah, congratulations, Michael.
Thank you very much.
Fine pickle you landed yourself in.
Oh, well, I don't know. It seems quite harsh. I feel I've landed on my feet. I'm an heir to the dairy farm in the land of eternal sunshine and
What do you want me
Biro.
to? What do you want me to tell your family when we go back to London and you stay here?
Good luck with the butcher business. Michael's moved into the dairy farming game.
Okay.
And stinking London can poke it with its plague and its witchfinder general and whatever else. And the crazy queen, I'll be living it up in Dolmen Wood.
As you're saying this, you hear this voice go, "Oi!
Oh,
You said London was great." And then as you look into like a little shadowed corner of the room, you can see Smudge like sat in a corner like,
well, it's great for goblins. I said it was great for goblins.
"Oh, all right.
Loads
He
of
said, "What,
goblins, load of mushrooms."
He's like, "You really going to stay here?
Well,
What, in this little shithole?"
oh, well, that's a bit harsh, isn't it? It's got all these marvellous beers. It's got a fancy bit of wool. It's got a tailor of a remarkable quality. Women throwing themselves at you. Farmers giving you dairy herds and houses to live in. I mean, I've never had it so good.
Well, I suppose if that's what you like, it's what you like, innit?
Yeah.
He shrugs.
Yeah. Anyway, you live here. What you know?
He's like, "I don't live here."
Well,
He's like, I live in Fairy, don't I?
Well. Yeah.
Well, I did. I don't know if I can go back there now.
Well, you can open up one of your little doors, can't you? Nip through, I suppose.
Well, yeah, there is that.
But yeah, in the meantime, I'm still on a mission. We're due to find out about this abbey, but no one seems to know anything about it.
He says, well, you're going to be no good heading now. He says it's going to take you at least like a day there and a day back, so you'd miss your wedding. He says,
And you have a trapdoor large enough to fit all of us in, and then come back up at the Abbey. Is that how it works?
he says, well, yeah, I could do that, but as I said to you before, you a lot can't use them.
So even if it was big enough, we couldn't go in.
Yeah, don't you remember last time when I got one of you to step on it and it was like you stood on ground?
So how about Mick? Do you actually want to get married, or do you want me to go murder them all?
But that seems a bit
That's not
harsh.
murder anybody. There's no need for that.
Well, wait, when you say that, Smudge is like, well, that fucking escalated.
Yeah, I know. Everything escalates with this fella. I tell you, got to watch him. The least opportunity will set him off. The least little thing will set him off. But it can come in handy, of course, but not when you're trying to make marriage arrangements. I don't need my future.
He says, well, no, to be honest, if I were going to look at him and you were like, what do you reckon to his marriage arranging abilities? I'd say I'm guessing probably not fucking great.
Hey, he's not the one that deals with the fancy clothing and like the flower arrangements necessarily.
Not so much. Nah.
So
I'm happy to get married. You got to take the opportunities as they come along. I'm an easygoing sort of fella.
Oh, in that
This
case,
is the most interest I've ever had in my life from the opposite sex. I ain't about to pass it up now, am I? Jesus. I might not be that bright, but I ain't that stupid either.
okay.
I know when I'm well off.
Well, in that case, then I put my knives away because there's no murder apparently. Go up to Michael and like extend my hand. Mick, well, not really. I suppose I'm glad that it turned out okay for you.
Oh, thank you very much. And if it don't work out with Rachel, there's always Maria.
There is, I suppose, that, yes. So, given that you are actually doing this, are we going to whittle away the next 2 days? Or are we, is there anything you want to get done? I ordered some clothing for myself. The tailor, expensive.
No. Well, yeah, that's not so good.
Yeah. But I ordered some. And
You'll be looking sharp. You'll be looking sharp for the wedding, then.
yeah, turns out it will actually be the opportunity to, I suppose, parade around in my new attire.
How long's the? When's he gonna have it ready? Then will he have it ready for?
Yeah, before a little bit before the market event, I believe.
And we'd want to check out the market anyway, wouldn't we?
Yes. So, I suppose for once, we don't do anything.
Well, we could just chill out.
Yes.
Relax.
They have a lot of interesting brews here, so I suspect you will find that enjoyable, Friar and also Mick.
Well, I could. There's definitely worse things to do with a couple of days, and then once I'm hitched, we could head out to the Abbey. If it's a day away and a day back, obviously.
That sounds good.
I'm also waiting on the wizard. So. I need to wait until he's finished.
When's he finish?
Market day as well, as far as I recall.
What about you, Lieutenant?
What?
He's nodding off. He's had a few too many bevies. He's had too many of them effer blues or blue effers.
Has anybody got help in this barrel? Cheese is nice, anyway. Yeah, I'll
Old
just...
farmhouse cheddar.
I'll be drinking my way through all of the beverages one by one.
Okay, well, since
This
you're the one,
fine village has to offer.
since you're the one cracking the barrel open, Lieutenant, would you like to roll me a d20?
A barrel of bird shit ale.
Yeah, there was one as well, wasn't there?
Yep.
Yeah,
Barrel blaster.
stripy birdshit beer.
Yum yum.
7. Magnificent.
Okay, so as you you put the little barrel on the table, ready to, you see there's like a little tap on the side of it, like a little wooden tap. You're getting ready to sort of.
Oh, that's handy.
You can see sort of on the side in very small sort of writing, like carved into the barrel. It says the rugged gnome on the side of it.
Oh, we haven't had that. That's a new one.
Rugged gnome.
The rugged gnome.
You pour a little bit out, just give it like a little bit of a sniff and a bit of taste, Lieutenant. And it seems to be quite a thick sort of stout.
Oh.
It's obviously quite heavily roasted. It's got that sort of deep, sort of almost like chocolatey aroma to it, and you can tell just by smelling it. You're like, this is obviously like the strong stuff. No wonder it's come in like a small barrel. No wonder all the mugs in here are small.
Alright. Who's up for some of this?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so the lieutenant starts pouring out like they're like half pint mugs. They're about a little half pint of this like really strong smelling stout. I mean, as they pour one for each of them, Jackdaw and like the Friar, you can like smell this stout from across the farmhouse table you sat at. That's how strong it is.
Wow.
And it almost looks. It's got a very sort of thick texture to it, if you know what I mean.
Viscous.
Yeah, it's not unpleasant to drink. I say it's got like a really sort of deep, bitter, like chocolatey sort of aftertaste to it. Very nice, but very strong and quite sort of filling. You know that whole thing about like Guinness being like a meal and a drink. It's got that sort of vibe to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, pile into that.
Okay, so Jackdaw and Friar Dunstan, are you joining in, or is it just going to be Big Mick and the lieutenant sort of tanking themselves into like an early night again?
I'm not going to anyway. No.
Oh,
More for us!
Friar.
More for us!
Just a thimbleful, Friar. Just a thimbleful.
No, I think I'm okay. Thanks to tenants.
Yeah, all right. Mick says all more for us then. Jackdaw, where's
No. I found a brew at the Curious Tavern by which the tailor is located. There's I quite like that one, so I believe I will head out and perhaps try to procure some more of that.
Good man.
Okay, so we're going to speed through the next couple of days very quickly, just to get to Market Day. Over the next day, so Thursday, a few people start to arrive, traders and such like. The town becomes like a hubbub of activity as people are setting these stalls up in the town square, ready for the market day. People like local people are being hired to like watch over the stalls and the produce while the traders are arranging their rooms at the various many taverns throughout Prigwort. There's a lot of like traders guards now about sort of sinking drinks and like laughing and sort of catching up with each other. You get the feeling that some of them sort of come here quite regularly, so they also like know each other and they're like catching up on the news and whatnot and like, talking to each other. Obviously there's also an extra frisson of activity because there's this wedding going to be going on. You notice that over the course of Thursday, sort of like picked wild flowers are draped over the small section of wall and over the gate on the eastern side of Prigwort. You will see that you hear like bells being rung from the church, so obviously Father Doyle is getting ready for the wedding, but everything's sort of fairly uneventful. Is there anything particular you guys want to do on the Thursday, sort of, before we move on?
No, I don't think so.
I'm just going to clean up my stuff I'm not going to buy up a new suit and all that. I'm just going to clean my gear and get brush down my coat and all that.
Okay, no problems whatsoever. So, on the morning of market day, which is Friday, you all sort of rise fairly early. Obviously, Cole, your future father-in-law, Cole and Ernie, has been in to like check on you, make sure everything's all right. But you've not really seen much of Rachel, so it's not proper before like the wedding. And he tells you that the wedding's arranged for midday. Father Doyle's ready. It's going to be by the wall. Yeah, there'll be a good turnout because it's market day. It's seen as like a very sort of lucky and auspicious thing for people to be married at the wall in sort of local areas. It's like a sort of focal point for that sort of ceremony. Obviously, Friar Dunstan, you head over to Mostelmeyer's to find out what's going on with this pearl you left with him. You head over to his building and you're just about to go in when you can hear Mostelmeyer's like raised voice from beyond the door. And you hear him say, well, yes, I don't claim to know anything about manna from heaven or religious tomfoolery like that. If you want any of that stuff, you'd have to speak to that busybody Father Doyle over at the local church. And then you can hear like another sort of slightly hushed voice. Sounds like fairly sort of relaxed and nonplussed, being like, and he says, well, then you hear Mostelmeyer's again sort of loud, imperious voice say, well, look, if you leave it with me for a couple of days, I'm sure I can tell you what's behind it. If you leave me half the money now, well, yes, and you had like another bit of conversation. Well, yes, of course, I'm quite happy to take all the money now if you want to give me all the money now. And he sounds a little bit confused. He's like, well, yes, that's fine. Well, I'll see you in a couple of days then. And the door opens, and a young man wearing like villagers gear, big smile on his face, bit of a sort of spring in his step, looking quite happy, comes walking out past you, and he's like, morning to you.
Good morning.
And he walks past you off towards the centre of the village.
Okay, then I will walk in to see the wizard.
You walk in, you see Mostelmeyer sat at his sort of writing desk, all of his implements spread around him. He doesn't appear to have noticed you come in. He's looking at what appears to be a small clay bowl on the desk in front of him, and he's holding like what looks like a stick of some kind, and he's like, his glasses on top of his head.
Good morning.
Oh, good morning, Friar. Well, I'm terribly sorry. I have examined the item you left with me, and I think you'll be quite happy with my findings. I presume you bought the rest of the money with you.
Yes, and I'll hand him the other 50 gold.
Yeah, he takes that off you, and as you hand him over the gold, you can see this sort of bowl on the desk in front of him, and it appears to have this strange sort of rose pink gelatinous substance in it.
Okay.
And he's obviously been sort of like dipping a stick in it, and there's this like odd sort of almost like sort of Turkish delight style sort of scent, like rose scent wafting up from it. And he says, "Oh yes, sir," and he goes over to his shelves, and he eventually comes back with your pearl, and he hands it over to you, and he says, "Now I've heard of these before." He says, "I believe this is what's known as a pearl of the sirens. If you hold it and concentrate on it, it will give you the ability to breathe water as though it were the very air, and also to act freely underwater, unencumbered by the tides or the ebb and flow of the water around you."
Ah, that is very interesting. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're most welcome. You're most welcome. I pride myself on my service. And he says,
yes.
I don't suppose you'd be interested in selling it at all.
No, I'm afraid not.
More's the pity.
I'm afraid not.
I would have offered you a fair price for it. I would have given you a couple of £1,000 for it. But if you're not interested in selling, I quite understand it is a rare piece.
Okay. Not at the moment, but perhaps for a couple of £1,000, I might change my mind in time.
Says, well, I mean, you know where I am if you do change your mind. I'm sorry, I don't mean to rush you, but I've any sort of pats to the side of this bowl, but I've got another commission I need to be looking into.
Yeah, and what is it that you have there? It looks very interesting.
He says, well, and seeing that you appear to be interested, and obviously he's like, oh, a chance to show my knowledge. He smiles and he says, well, it's my considered opinion, and bear in mind I've not conducted a thorough examination yet. That this substance is some strange, nourishing, gelatinous substance. It's my opinion that anyone who were to eat this substance would gain the benefits as though they had ate a full meal. Hence, the fellow who bought it in, he said that he discovered it in a village to the north, Drigbolton. Said he believed it was manna sent from the gods. Apparently, it's all over the place near Drigbolton, and then it's done quite a good job for their village. They're not blessed with quite the fertile lands we have here, but apparently many of them have been praying for a miracle to get them through the hard growing seasons, and then a couple of nights. Well, it would have been let's see, a week before you came to our village. I don't know if you saw the strange light in the heavens. I don't know whether you were here then. I can see by your face that you weren't, but there was we saw a shooting star in the heavens about a week before you arrived here. So it passed quite over our village, headed in the direction of Drigbolton. Apparently the villagers there took it as a sign, and then the next morning, and he holds up the bowl, this was everywhere.
Ooh,
quite
interesting.
interesting. Yes, I can't wait to conduct a thorough examination. And I don't mean to insult the piece you bought me, Father. It was quite a unique piece. It was a great challenge to examine it and winkle out all the little idiosyncrasies of it. But it's so rare in my business that being as well travelled as I am, that you find an item that is truly mystifying. Whereas this, and he sort of pokes it again with the stick, and you can see it's got like a viscous, like gelatinous texture. This is quite unlike anything I've ever seen before.
And who was the young man who brought it to you?
He says, "Oh well, he's a young villager, Colmo Malone."
Okay. He lives here?
No, he's from Drigbolton.
Okay. And is the price he paid on par with the price I paid?
He says, "Well, it's strange you should say that. It is roughly equivalent to the price you paid. However, rather like I did with yourself, I don't like to take all of a person's money until I've determined that I can actually find out what they want. I take pride in that. So I offered him the same terms that I gave you, half now, half later on. And generally, if I can't find out anything suitable, I give the half of the money back. I'm not poor. I don't really need the money. And if I can't find anything out, I take it as a matter of pride that I return the money so that the person isn't out of pocket. But strange, the fellow insisted on giving me all the money now. First time that's ever happened.
Okay.
And when I said I didn't want to take all of his money, he quite insisted. Seemed quite happy about the whole affair.
Okay. And would you mind if I cast a spell to see if the substance might be evil? Or
Well,
it's more of a prayer, really. I wouldn't be.
he looks a bit uncomfortable. And he's like, "Well, I don't know about that, fella. I'm not really one for all this religious mumbo jumbo, but I don't see that it can do any harm. So please, and it might be interesting. Like I said, this isn't like anything I've seen before. So please go ahead."
Okay. So then I will just cast Detect Evil, and see if the substance is in any way.
Okay, so you cast Detect Evil, and obviously you've been hanging around with Jackdaw. You're pretty familiar what the sort of result of this spell is when you cast it around something evil. And
No.
indeed, and this substance isn't registering as evil. However, there is something odd about it. It leaves you with a very unsettling feeling. It's not the feeling you've come to associate sort of in the pit of your stomach with, like, yes, this is evil, but there's something unsettling about it. Something, it feels like it doesn't belong here, like it's from somewhere else, somewhere different.
Okay. And then I think I missed a session with the shooting star. What happened that night?
The shooting star was before you guys arrived in
Ah, okay.
Emerald.
Okay. Shooting star. Okay, so I will then take my leave of the good wizard
Okay.
after explaining that it's unsettling and I feel like it doesn't belong here, and I will try and find this Coleman Malone.
Okay, not a problem. You locate him in Raptappens.
Ah,
Obviously he's been told that it's going to take a couple of days to examine this stuff. He's booked himself into a small room in Raptappens. Obviously you're familiar with it. You guys aren't staying there at the minute. You're at the Nerney Dairy. But you head in there. You can see him stood by the bar talking to Raptappen. He's got this big smile on his face, and he's like, oh yes, I'd love to try one of your ales. After all, Prickwater is well known for having the finest beers in the Dolmen Wood. What would you recommend, sir? And he's just like making a bit of like friendly banter with Raptappen, and they're chatting about the different beers and generally having a nice old conversation.
okay. So I will kind of work my way over and kind of suggest that he stays away from the ether blue. That one has.
Why is that?
It just has a habit of getting young men into trouble. I would suggest you go for the Prigwort Pure.
Oh, well, if you say so. Well, yes, I won't you, and he smiles, says, won't you join me in a drink, Father? My treat, I insist.
Yes, why not?
Would you like a pint or a half, Father?
Just a half, please, son.
And a half a Prigwort Pure for the good Father as well. And one for yourself, barkeep, as well, while you're at it. And he'll throw some coins on the counter and you all get a drink and have a nice drink. And
Cool.
he's saying, well, are you... Obviously, I don't mean to sound rude, Father. I can tell you're not from around here. Are you staying in Prigwort long?
No, we arrived on Wednesday. A young man I'm travelling with got himself into some trouble.
Oh, sorry to hear that. Is he all right?
Yes, he's just getting married in an hour.
Oh, splendid. Well, that's a cause for celebration.
It is indeed.
Another drink for us all, barkeep. In fact, I'll buy one for everyone in here.
Ooh.
And like everyone in the room's like, yeah, great. And he buys a drink for everyone in the room.
So tell me about, you must have come across some good fortune of late to be so generous with your money.
He says, oh, yes. He says, I don't know if you've ever been to my home village of Drigbolton.
No, I've never. I just recently arrived on the island.
Oh, well, things have always been... We're not on a particularly patch of fertile land in Drigbolton. Things have always been a little bit of a struggle there. Going back to the old days, my village was originally started by a few frontiersmen, but as they had families and their families had families, it got ever harder to support the local people on what we could scratch from the land, even with the hunting. Well, we were getting in desperate straits. I'm not going to lie to you, Father. The food supplies are running low. Obviously, we hunted what we could from the forest, but it's a very dangerous place if you get off the beaten path. And we were quite at our wits' end, the village elders, as to what we could do. And as all good church-faring people would, we prayed to Gael, the Golden Angel, for deliverance. And then one of the sheep herds who was up on one of the nearby hills spotted a twinkling light in the sky, and we all saw this light pass over. And then the next morning we found we found this strange substance just like littered around the village. And at first we were afraid of it, but it didn't seem to cause us any harm. And then one of the braver members of the village tried eating some of the substance, and it provided him with as much nourishment with a single mouthful as a whole day's food. And since then, we've easily been able to support everyone in the village. We asked for a miracle, and he sort of claps you on the back. And Gale has delivered us. Praise be to
Indeed.
Gale.
Does the substance grow back, or is there only a certain amount?
He says, well, there's a large area of it just to the north of the village, and no matter how much we take from that area, we come back the next day and it seems to have replenished itself. We now have more food than we could ever need, and the village is growing and prospering like it never has before. It's truly a wonderful time to be alive, Father. Another drink for everybody. And he orders like another drink for everybody.
Okay.
So, well, won't you? Obviously, it's sort of getting on a little bit now. Sort of like early morning, sort of past to mid morning, and he's like, yes, I was really planning just to nip down to Brigwort and then head straight back, but they've got a wizard here who can identify things, and while we wanted to know a little bit more about it, so I was chosen to bring some of the manna down to Mostelmire. That's it. To bring some down to Mostelmire and see if we could identify it. I had hoped he'd be able to do it quickly, but apparently it's going to take a couple of days. But I've paid him for it, so I thought I may as well stay here and enjoy the market. I hear there's going to be a wedding.
There is. Yes, the event of the year.
Splendid. And then once that's done, I'll probably travel back up to Drigbolton. Hopefully there'll be some good news from the wizard. But yes, I think I'll just take in a bit of the local colour while I'm here.
Okay.
Last night I spent here. Beautiful night sky, lovely twinkling stars. I sat out in the courtyard and just took in the night's air. Beautiful place.
Indeed. And tell me, does your village has anything else strange happened in your village beyond the appearance of this substance?
No, I mean, obviously the moods of people have taken a turn for the better since we no longer have to worry about scrimping and trying to scrounge food from places. So everyone's feeling quite positive. There's been an upsurge in church attendance. That I regret to say that had fallen off a little bit as people's thoughts had turned mainly to survival. But now we no longer have to worry about that, and we've seen the proof that if we believe and we pray to Gale, our prayers will be answered.
Indeed.
Life's good in Drigbolton.
And tell me, who is the priest of Drigbolton?
He says, Thomas Geary is his name, Father Geary.
And is he a priest of Gale?
Oh, well, yes, of course.
Perhaps I will call boy and see him. How far is your village from here?
He says, let's see. Well, as the mist crow flies, he says, well, it'll be about 30 miles, 40 miles, something like that.
Okay. And does the road go there?
No, the road doesn't go there, unfortunately. You have to know some of the old trackers paths and the old fur trackers paths through the woods, but they're fairly well trodden. They're pretty easy to find.
Okay. Well, perhaps if you're still here on Monday, we might travel together.
Oh yes, that'd be lovely. Well, I'm sure I shan't be leaving before the end of Monday. I mean, obviously it depends when Mostelmire's finished looking at the manor, but yes, I'd love some company on the road back. It does get a little bit lonely travelling through the woods, and obviously safety in numbers. But
yes,
I
indeed.
had a pleasant trip down here, no real problems.
Cool. So I'll take a rough idea where the village is off him separately in case we don't make it back for Monday.
Yeah.
And then I'll bid him.
Like I say, you think it's about 40 miles to the northwest of Brigwall.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
You depart.
Yeah, I'm heading for the hanging.
Okay, no problems. So, meanwhile, Jackdaw, you head over to the tailor's, to Algernon Brandybile, who tells you that he's prepared your clothes, and I've got a rough picture to give you some idea of what the garments look like. There you go.
Oh, nice.
Obviously, all made from the sort of like the bit around the neck and the sort of big belt are all made from like wolf's fur, and the rest is made from the sort of like the tanned skin. So down the back of it is actually like the wolf's head.
Oh, so
pulled up like a hood.
Yeah, so the hood is a.
Yeah.
There's going to be some people who are going to be surprised about this.
And on the shoulders are like 6 of these dark black fading to grey mist crow feathers, and 6 on the other side.
Yep. And I did look through the Great London book, and I didn't specifically find the sort of coat of arms of the royal house, but I did find a coat of arms, which I think it was related to the area where the royalty lives, and it's an arrangement of 4 crowns on the sort of coat of arms shield. So, do we want to go with that, or?
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. Where would you like that to be located on?
Yeah, so on the above the heart.
Okay, so you see the picture showing the front of it, with like the fabric coming down.
Yep.
Basically, obviously, like in that sort of position, that would cover the coat of arms. But obviously, you can like move it back to reveal that. So if you
for the dramatic reveal. Ha ha!
Exactly.
Yeah. All right.
So
Good.
I'll make a note. There's a coat of arms on the spout. So,
good.
So Brandygar presents that to you, and he's like, "There you go, sir. Some of my finest work, if I do say so myself. As per your instruction, I've kept my maker's mark discreet." And he basically pulls back the sleeve there, and on the inside, it's like the 2 B's. And he's like, "There you go, quite discreet, sir." And I'm sure you've noticed the mist crow feathers accenting the shoulders there, and obviously the neck piece and the belt are, of course, detachable from the caftan beneath. I've taken a few liberties with it. It's a cross between a traditional caftan and a military overcoat. I hope you don't mind me taking a few of these liberties. I'm quite pleased with it. In fact, I think I may make it one of my stable patterns. I'm sure the nobles from Harrowmore would love to get their hands on a lovely item like this. You'll be quite the talk of the town, sir. My name is Brandybile, a master tailor.
And the masterful work you've done here. I'm well satisfied.
Good. Splendid.
So, because I want to put it on because we have the big do to get to. So, I'm going to be putting it on, and I'll be chatting to him if he's around, crowing over me as I put his stuff on. So, this Harrowmore, you say there's a concentration of nobles there?
Well, yes, there's a Lady Harrowmore and her courtiers, and obviously their guards and assorted men at arms and such like. And the Lady Harrowmore does like to cut a bit of a dashing figure herself. She's quite a strong-willed woman, and I don't mind that. She knows what she likes and what she wants. So obviously she's in a position of authority at Harrowmore, and I've crafted items of clothing for her in the past, and any item of clothing she wears has to convey the feeling of strength and of control, like any good military leader should. She's quite a formidable woman. I'm no warrior, but I certainly wouldn't like to be facing her on the battlefield. I can tell you that for nothing.
Yes, usually the thing with nobles is that if you if you face them in battle, usually there's quite a bit more than just the noble as well.
Indeed. And although Harramore Keep is somewhat of a forbidding edifice, I'm sure you've seen it on your way into the village, but obviously being situated in pretty much the heart of the Dolmen wood, obviously it's a dangerous place, and well, they need to be fortified, and obviously they have responsibility for protecting some of the villages and some of the smaller areas around, on behalf of Lord Brackenwold, of course, but well, they need to be able to stand on their own.
Yes, I quite imagine so. Well, my good man, I thank you very much for this. It
You're
is
most
splendid.
welcome, sir. You're most welcome. It's nice to have something that was a true testament to my tailoring skills.
Very good. Shall you join us in the festivities?
Well, no, I probably won't. I've got a number of commissions that have started to come in. As I said when we last spoke, when the merchants come here, they bring their cloths and their fabrics. They want this, they want that. So I'll probably be busy working, but I will send a couple of my young lads down to trade some of my obviously no set of garments is commonplace from me, as you might expect from a master tailor, but my less strenuous work, shall we say. They'll be trading those on the market, of course.
Yes. Well, I wish you good trading.
And don't forget, sir, if anyone asks, tell them where you got your splendid clothing from. Brandybiles, master tailor.
Most certainly.
A pleasant day to you, sir.
And you as well. I give a bow and head out the door.
And he lets you depart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I will be just waiting for the big event
Okay.
to kick off.
So we cut to before we get to like midday when like the wedding's going to occur. Is there anything that obviously we know what Fry Dunstan and Jackdaw are doing? Is there anything Big Mick or the Lieutenant would like to do?
I need to have a word with the lieutenant. I need like a best man, and I need somebody who's not going to show me up.
Who do you suggest?
Well, I was thinking, Lieutenant, if you would be so kind and you would do me the honour of being my best man, as I'm thinking you would have experience in these matters. I'm not too au fait with the whole getting married business, but seemingly I need a best man.
He appears to be mulling it over for a few moments.
Well, I'd be honoured, Michael. Honoured.
Oh, well, that's a weight off of it.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, but
Right.
you froze visually.
Well,
said
that's what the beer will do for you.
Yeah,
Yes.
well, that's a weight off my mind, I have to say.
Indeed.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we cut to midday. The town sort of marketplace is now full of stalls and full of people, many of whom are slightly more finely dressed. There's stores. You can see Jackdaw as you're walking around. You see a couple of lads like selling brandy vials, garments. There's a couple of the black-clad servitors of Mosselmeyer there, who are selling a few of his like lesser enchantments and such like. And there's all manner of agricultural equipment, loads of beer, like more beer than you can shake a stick at. There's like you can't turn around without like seeing a stall that's like selling beer of some variety. There's obviously milk, there's food, crops, etc. All the stuff you did expect to see at like a sort of large town sort of market. And you can see merchants sort of in their gaudy clothing. There's a lot of hubbub going on, a lot of talking between people. But as you get nearer to midday, the sort of hubbub starts rising noticeably. You see the Father Doyle heads over by the wall, which is now decorated with these beautiful flowers and like ears of corn and such like. The gate is stood there. Obviously no actual gate in it, but like the archway is there. You see Father Doyle leads towards the wall. Rachel Nerney, she's wearing a fairly simple but beautiful looking white dress as she's led over to the wall by Father Doyle. You can see that her father Cole is stood with her, and they're sort of stood at the wall as you approach. Big Mick with your best man, Lieutenant Uffington. They're stood on one side of the gate, you're stood on the other. As you walk past, you see the young lad with his improvised spear who was stood on the wall when you first enter the village, and he gives you like a cheeky bit of a wink as you walk past.
Is Maria there?
She is there. She stood at like the front of the crowd, so watching.
I look at the young kid with the spear and I'm like...
He goes a little bit red and he's like... looks a little bit embarrassed. But you see Father Doyle, he sort of goes like that and gestures for everyone to be a little bit quiet, and then he says, "Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to join this man and this woman in the blessed and most holy state of matrimony. As has been our tradition for many years, we perform this ceremony in front of the village wall in the hope that as they pass through the gates at the conclusion of the ceremony, they pass through the doorway into their married life and a new, brighter future." He looks over to you, Big Mick, and he says, "Do you have the ring?"
Ring. You have rings in these parts, do you?
He says, well, yes, of course, it's traditional. The groom gives a ring as a token of his love and affection to his bride, and the bride's normally father in return gives a ring to the groom as a token of their families coming together in the state of union.
I have a handful of rings that were liberated off a overweight trader.
Might I suggest?
So what do you suggest there? You got cut off, Lieutenant.
To suggest perhaps the ring with your family emblem, the emblem of South Walk, was it?
Slaughterwood. Yes, I have. You're right. I forgot. I got a ring.
You got your sovereign ring.
Yeah, boy. Yeah, of course. Oh yeah, the ring, of course.
Fate. It was fate.
It was fate. God dear. I've got little to my name, but I do have a ring.
So Father Doyle sort of holds his hand out towards you, and he's like,
"Yep,
the ring then, if you please."
Yep.
He takes up this big like gold sovereign ring off you. Then he holds out his other hand to Cole Nerney, who, like yourself, takes off a plain silver ring off his own hand, and he looks at it with a little bit of a tinge of sadness on his face for a few moments. Then he passes it over to Father Doyle, who takes it off him, and he says, "With the exchange of rings, we join together these two great families, the family of," he points at you, Mick,
Butcher,
the family Butcher, and of course the family Nerney. Let it be known that this man, Michael Butcher, will now be wed to this woman, previously Rachel Nerney, now Rachel Butcher. And he hands over to you the plain gold ring that he took from the pharmacist. please take this ring as a sign of your joining with the family, Nurney. And then he hands your ring to her and says, please take this ring as a sign of you wedding yourself to the family butcher. And she like tries to find a finger that's like big enough to put this gold sovereign and ends up like putting it on her thumb. Presumably you put the ring on as well, so you've got like a silver ring. Obviously it came from her father, so it fits you fine. And he says, splendid. Now in the sight of Gale, I would ask each of you to make your pledges to each other.
Is there not a set thing that he says? Is he just expecting Mick to improvise?
He seems to be.
Oh, well, I'm not one much for speeches. I speak as I find. And I'm sure Rachel will be a fine wife and mother to provide a constance to the butcher line, and rest assured that as I stand here, Michael, son of Frank the Butcher, I will do her and her family proud, and I consider myself truly lucky, and yes, there's not much more I can say.
Okay, make me a charisma roll. Obviously, you could use the D30 if you wish.
Perhaps not. I can't find my sheet now. God dang. Oh, there
Right,
it is.
take your time. Don't worry about it.
Lost roll 20. Why is that? I'll roll a normal dice. If I had one. Those are gone.
It's fine. Just let me know what you roll.
Oh, it's a red dice, John.
Nice to see you staying on brand.
Yeah. Oh, it's a 4. God damn.
Okay, so people look a little bit confused by your your slightly ad hoc and fumbling speech, but a few people start going like,
Yes, very understandable.
after a little bit. Then Father Doyle turns to your wife, Rachel, and says, and of course your pledge. And in a very soft voice, Rachel says, well, it's been a long time since my mother passed. However, she was a strong companion for my father. She raised myself and my sister in the best way she could, and all whilst working on the farm and working as hard as any man might have done. I only hope that I can live up to the example that she set to me and be as good a wife to my husband as she was to my father. At which one people are like clapping loudly, and Father Doyle says, well, with those exchanges of vows, I now pronounce you husband and wife. Step through the gate in the wall and step into your new life together. And he gestures to the archway on this little piece of wall. I think Mick's been struck dumb.
I'll sort of like offer up my arm for her to take,
She takes your arm gently.
and I shall lead her through the gateway in the wall.
You walk through the wall, and actually you hear one of the villagers go, "Go on then, give her a kiss." Rachel sort of like, her cheeks go a little bit red, and she's like,
Yeah, I just look at her, grin back at the crowd in a cheeky, chirpy, crafty, cockney character kind of way, and yeah, give her a kiss and to rapturous applause.
Indeed, as you kiss her, the place erupts in applause. People are cheering, whistling. There's like people banging on like the side of the stalls. This humongous sort of happy, joyous din fills the town square. You see several people. You're not particularly familiar with them, but they're obviously quite well regarded in the village. They're wearing quite fancy clothing. You see one of them say, "Well, as a member of the elevated council of brewmasters, we sanctify this wedding and see that it has all been done right and proper according to the traditions of our proud village. And as is our tradition, that each of the 7 members of the elevated council will now gift a barrel of our finest brews to the happily married couple. Let everyone drink, eat, and be merry, for today is a joyous day of celebration in Prigwort." At which point everyone's like, yeah, starts clapping and like cheering. And these 7 sort of big casks are sort of, as you walk back through the gate with your new wife Rachel, these 7 big like casks are put in front of you, all with various beers in. The sort of tops are popped off them. There's like some of the tavern keepers bring out pewter mugs and just like pile them up by the tankards, and people are basically just walking up and like dipping their tankards in and sort of like, "Oh, congratulations, mate! You know, best wishes and all that. Oh, you get less for murder, mate." And sort of giving you a bit of cheeky banter and sort of having a few drinks, and the whole place takes on like an air of sort of semi-riotous celebration as everyone's just like getting tanked and enjoying themselves.
It turns into Hobbiton.
Pretty much, yeah. You imagine the sort of like the vibe that was going on like Bilbo's like
11th birthday.
Yeah, it's pretty much a similar thing. Everyone's getting a bit drunk and sort of clapping on each other on the back and like telling stories and having a bit of a laugh.
Busting out the fireworks.
Exactly, it's a thoroughly pleasant evening. There's a few bards and sort of people like that, you know, telling stories, etc.
I toss a coin to one of them.
Yeah, you toss a coin to him. He's like, one of the locals goes, "Oh, he's gonna be playing for hours now." But the minstrel you've tossed this coin to is telling a story at the moment. He's got someone in the background like, playing a lute, and he's telling a story about the legend of Chassabrith and Sir Windless. It appears to be a tale about an ancient worm known as Chassabrith, who apparently hundreds of years ago used to terrify the townsfolk. He was this huge worm whose, if the legends are to believe, wingspan blotted out the sun, until a wandering knight, Sir Windless, arrived in the town and he agreed to defend the villagers. There was a huge battle in the town square. However, they fought through the entire night, but neither of them could best the other. The worm was ferocious and dangerous and full of evil, but the knight had his holy virtues and his strength at arms. But when the first rays of Gale's sun started to filter over the horizon, the rays dazzled the worm, blinding it momentarily, allowing the knight to bring a mighty blow to its neck, almost severing the worm's great beast-like head. The beast, using the last of its strength as its blood and its life was pouring out, fled back into the forest, and Sir Windless, saluting the townsfolk, gave chase. Neither the dragon nor the knight were ever seen again in Prigwort, so the tale is regarded as a happy one. It's assumed that the knight defeated the dragon and returned back to whence he came. And the minstrel then goes on to tell many other fanciful tales about Sir Windless and what he did afterwards, and the many sort of heroic things that he supposedly did.
Because I gave him the silver piece and I listened to his stories. Is there a moment where I could inquire about like where this was supposedly where this bloodletting happened?
You most
and if so,
can.
Can I find my way there? Because I would be interested in seeing what grows there now.
Okay. Dum, 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 dum.
Because I have it on good authority that herbalism and mushrooms are a thing.
Okay.
Yes,
also our games.
I've heard such rumor.
Indeed. So he pauses after a long while, after about an hour of telling these tales. He has to like stop to like wet his whistle, and he goes to like dip a flagon in this barrel, and he's just like standing back, dabbing the sweat because he's got quite animated. He's like dabbing the sweat of his forehead with like a handkerchief. And
Yeah, because he's playing all the parts.
yeah, exactly, yeah. And he's been like acting him out, like, oh, but the dragon came down, but the knight was ready with his sword. He's been like leaping about quite athletically, but he's finally relaxing. There's a couple of the local women who are sort of like sidling up to him, and he's obviously like playing up to it, and he's like, oh yes, of course, I'm but a humble minstrel, and I'm just passing on these great tales of heroes. And he's sort of sipping his beer, and you get a chance to approach him. What do you say?
Minstrel, I have greatly enjoyed your tale spinning, and I was wondering with the dragon and Sir Knight in the vicinity of Prigwort, a great wound was dealt to the beast.
Yes, that's correct. The story of Chisabrith and the Great Knight Windless is one of my personal favourite tales, and he points at like an area in the town square that's obviously now got like stalls on it, and he says, if local legend is to believe, that is the very spot where they met, locked in mortal combat, and the vicious blow was dealt to the beast as the rays of the sun blinded it.
In the middle of the market.
Indeed, in the very centre of Brigwort.
Huh. Interesting.
And the beast, wounded, slunk back to whence, wherever it went. We know not. We never saw either it or Sir Windless again.
Yes, as is the way often I find in these old stories. They are
indeed, such is
incomplete.
the life of a brave hero.
Well, I will leave you to your doting admirers, and I glance at the women.
Not at all, generous patron. After all, you were the one who furnished me with the coin for my tale. Are there any other tales I might tell to amuse, perhaps? Is there anything else you would ask of me?
I hand him another silver coin. Let me
He catches
deduct
it, you throw it
that. Yeah. Of course, I need to toss it because that is the format of how this works. Tell me of Harrowmore.
He says, "Oh yes, the forbidding keep of Harrowmore, which they say has never been bested by unfriendly forces, led by the forbidding Lady Harrowmore herself, a woman quite unmatched in combat. It is said she killed her first foe at the tender age of 10 years old. A most formidable woman, a brave woman. And it is thanks to her vigilance that this area, in the name of Lord Brackenmore, is kept safe."
I see. Well, I shall come find you in the evening, I suspect.
Indeed, and then of course, and he sort of carries on as though you haven't said like, "Oh, I'm just going to go now," and he's like, "Oh yeah, one more thing," and he's just like getting into his flow now. He's got his he's got his breath back, and he's like, "Yes, of course." Then of course there are the tales of the many suitors who have tried to woo Lady Harrowmore over the years, and he chuckles to himself. But she will have none of it. She has turned all of them away, saying that her only concern is for her people and those under her protection, and she has no time for any thoughts of other things. And they have all left disappointed.
Yes, well, I suppose there's something to be said for dedication to one's duty.
He says, "Indeed," and he sort of looks around, then he leans in a bit conspiratorially and lowers his voice and says, "If and I do hear, if rumours are to be believed, apparently she is descended from an esteemed old lineage.
Oh,
Yes, apparently she's descended from the line of ancient kings, from the first days of the old ages of heroism.
are we speaking of the Gomans?
Oh, yes, of that sort of time. Yeah,
Mm.
you see, after the Gomans, although they never really. Obviously, I collect stories as I travel. Although the Gomans never really set foot in Emerald as they did on the Haven lands. After they had withdrawn, there was a great king who united the people in their departure. The people were obviously bereft. They had gotten used to a certain lifestyle and the protection of the Gomans from the barbarous tribes. But when the Gomans departed, there was great confusion, there was great panic. But a great king gathered a group of knights around him with an idea of holy virtue and with thoughts of building a great kingdom that would stand the test of time and would lift up the common man to be his best. And it is believed that she's descended from that very same line.
This is very interesting. Thank you. That coin was well spent, minstrel.
Not at all. And and he sort of bows, doffs his cap, and thanks to you, my generous patron. If my stories have delighted or amused in any way, of course, should you wish to hear any more, I am at your service.
Very good. And I go away before he starts another one.
Yeah, you quickly sort of exit stage left.
Yes.
Okay, so everyone's getting merry, everyone's getting in the party spirit. What's Fry Dunstan up to?
I guess I'm kind of waiting for this farce to be over, so I am kind of sitting at the back, kind of away from anyone, kind of with a pretty sour disposition. Literally just, when you just can't wait for the day to be over. That's kind of how I feel. So I think, I'm just kind of sitting in the back, kind of quite sour and just with a face on me that was kind of making people stay away.
That's harsh, isn't it? You never heard of love at first sight. Good grief. There's no romantic, this old friar, is he, eh? Good grief.
Indeed, after a while, the celebration goes on sort of like late into the evening, but as it starts getting dark, people do eventually start like drifting away. The traders have started to like pack down. The market day is pretty much over with. People are drifting back to the taverns. So obviously the traders aren't going to head out in the middle of the night. They're planning to hole up, head out in the morning with their wagons, etc. But the marketplace is being packed down. A few people are like already starting to feel the first twinges of like hangovers laying on their skulls as they've been imbibing quite freely, and they're starting to filter off either back to their homes or back to the various inns. You see that you would know Lieutenant and Big Mick that Colm Nerney, your father-in-law, Big Mick, is absolutely steaming. He pretty much sort of like stuck his head in one of them barrels and like half emptied it. So as we get to this point, sort of late in the evening, we find Big Mick, his wife on one arm, and the lieutenant, and Colm Nerney is sort of like this with like an arm over like the lieutenant and Big Mick.
He ain't singing or anything at this point, is
No, he's not started singing, and he's like he's looking at you quite bleary, like his eyes aren't really focusing properly, and he's like, "Well then, son, don't you worry. I've booked myself into the Rap Tappens for this evening, so you haven't got to worry about your old father-in-law cramping your style. You'll have the run of the dairy to yourself."
Well, we better get you. We better get you off over there and get you tucked up for some rest.
He says, "Oh, Don't you worry about old Colm. I'll make it to the rap tapping. Not a problem.
No,
He sort of leans in and like he's got breath that could kill like a charging moose. He's been drinking pretty heavily and various different drinks. And he leans closer to you with this like waft of sort of alcoholic pestilence emitting from him. And he reaches inside his jerkin and he takes out what appears to be a small pouch and he sort of like presses it into your chest and he's like, "There you go, son. Welcome to the family. I'll let you and your good lady go to your rest." And he wanders off towards he leaves you with the pouch and like wanders off towards the rap tap and like chatting to a few of the locals. He's like, "Oi, all right, Ronald, how's it going?" And he starts talking to some people and they're all like heading off towards the rap tap and obviously to carry on drinking.
does he look like he's gonna be all right? He's gonna get there.
He hooks up with obviously like a few of his friends from the village and there's like a group that starts swaggering off towards the rap tap and you're left with Rachel, your wife, and the lieutenant. Obviously you can see Jackdaw and the friar and you've got this little pouch in your hand.
Well, that'd be a bit indiscreet to go delving into this pouch at this point in time, I feel. So I've perhaps just like weigh it in my hands and perhaps try and get a measure of what it is without delving into it.
It's definitely coins. You
Okay.
can tell by like the chink of it as he like passed it to you. You're fairly good at like appraising the value of things for obvious reason. You're Frank Butcher's son.
Yeah.
You sort of like heft it like that, and you think if it's like gold pounds, and it's probably about 50 gold pounds.
Right.
Assuming it is gold pounds. I mean, if it's silver or copper, it'll be different.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll just sort of like subtly weigh that up and then just slip it into me skyrocket and take my leave of these gentlemen. A bit of a cheeky smirk on my mush and head out with my betrothed, my new lady wife.
Indeed, you head back to the Nurney Dairy and you spend a pleasant evening with your good lady wife. Is there anything anyone else wants to do that evening before we skip ahead to the next day, to Saturday?
I'm just trying to Friar Dunstan up.
Okay, yeah, so
Cheer up, Friar.
you wander over to the friar. So the slightly inebriated lieutenant wanders over and he's like, "Cheer up, friar."
Don't worry, he's going to a far better place than he could have ever hoped for.
Yes, potentially. But yes, I am not sure that this is the right choice for him. But the choice is made, so onwards and upwards for the rest of us.
And it isn't like we cannot liberate him from these worldly coils, Farah. Fairly easy.
Wow, that's a smart-looking outfit you're wearing, Jackdaw.
Thank you. The tailor has, I think, quite outdone himself. And I sort of like do a little spin.
Oh, wow. Very nice. I like the touch of the feathers. Yeah.
He's quite the artist. Which is am I being weird or paranoid about this? But how is this artisan here in this beer festival town?
And they have a very accomplished magician wizard as well. I was expecting something really bad to happen here.
Yes, and I think we actually might have been lied to our entire lives in Greater London about what the Dolmen Wood is and the island of Emerald. I think this might have been entirely misrepresented in everything. There is no. Well, we saw those creatures when we landed, and then we have seen, of course, apparently the ferry exists,
Mm.
but this place itself is not the monster haunted, awful thicket with barbarians smashing rocks together trying to make fire desperately. It's none of that. Which,
There is a darkness to it, though.
yes, there is, but there is that in London as well. I think we will all agree.
Hmm.
It is not the savage frontier it was made out to be.
No. Indeed.
Well, I
Oh.
think I shall go and avail myself of some of the fruits of civilization, by which I mean the beverages.
Yes, the night is still young.
As you say that and you sort of turn around to go to one of these barrels, you see a young woman with sort of like shoulder length dark hair. She's wearing what appears to be a very austere sort of grey military overcoat and sort of like long military boots and trousers. She appears to like be approaching you, but sort of like stops as you turn around. And she says, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I was wondering if I could inquire where you obtained that splendid coat, sir."
Me?
Yes, sir.
Well, the coat, and I like draw my cloak of Elvengan to the side. It's like, you mean the cloak?
No,
Heavier?
the main part
Yes,
of the garment, sir.
yes. The master tailor over yonder, and I like give the directions. Next to an excellent tavern where I shall be also found later tonight, enjoying the beverages. But right next door, and you cannot miss the sign, is a masterful tailor, an artisan, a true wizard with the needle.
Ah, splendid. My commander has sent me down here to see about potentially arranging for some new uniforms for the troops. So
Oh,
I shall no doubt have need of such services. Thank you. I shall take your
yes.
words under advisement.
Very good, very good. The military is a specialty of his, I think.
Ah, splendid. At which point she seems to like remember that she's not introduced herself, and she says, "Ah, Sergeant Isabel Fallow, Harramore Militia."
Uh, really now? And I offer my hand.
She takes hand. She gives like a firm handshake.
Yes, they call me Jackdaw.
Ah, splendid. Well, I won't keep you over long. Like I say, I have business to attend before I return to Harramore Keep. But I wish that you all enjoy the celebrations. And she nods towards you, turns towards the lieutenant, obviously like recognising his military bearing. She gives you like a salute, lieutenant. Although she raises an eyebrow at the fact that you're like a bit.
Yeah, your salute is kind of like.
Yeah. But she seems to understand that, like, obviously there's a big celebration going on, so the fact you've had a couple of drinks is like understandable. So she nods, and you see her like walking off in the direction of the Adult Meddler, the tavern you spoke of.
Yeah. I shall find my way to the tavern where I enjoyed, and let me get the name, the Purple Aspinthian.
Indeed. So you make your way to the Wrinkled Meddler, I should have said.
Yes.
You head in there and you see Madrid, the woman behind the bar. As previously, she welcomes you in. The bar's like pretty heaving because there's loads of people staying on the bar now, so it's quite a lot busier than it was previously. And she looks over at you and says, "Oh, hello again. Sorry, I'm a little bit busy at the moment. Just give me a moment." And then she serves a couple of people, and then she's like, "Oh, sorry about that. What can I get for you?"
Yes, the Purple Aspinthian.
Okay. She looks over at you for a few moments. And he says, "Oh, I'm sorry, we're out of the purple Aspinthian. We've got some green Aspinthian. If that's any good for you."
Is there a difference other than the color?
Oh yes, the flavors are a little different. You know, the bitter Aspinthian has got more of a licorice flavor to it. The green Aspinthian has more of a sort of limey, zesty sort of flavor to
Ah,
it. But it's she laughs a little bit as they're recording something amusing and says, there are those who say that if you drink too much of it, it allows you to see into other realms. But I don't take any stock in that. It's just a very nice beer. I'm not going to lie to you, sir.
yes. A heavy bump on the head will do that as well.
Quite. I'm pretty sure anyone who drinks a vast quantity of beer is liable to see something that's not quite there.
Yes.
And she pours you
Yeah.
some green
I-
stuff here.
Yeah, I will.
It tastes sort of zesty and limey with a slight sort of aftertaste of almost like sort of hay or like freshly mown grass on the aftertaste. But it's quite pleasant.
Yep. I will. In a rare moment of enjoying myself, I will avail myself of several of these
Not a problem.
in my night there, basically.
You sink a few of these beers. You don't need to worry about constitution rolls or anything. Just drink it and then go to relax. That's absolutely fine. Over the course of the evening, many people come and go in the tavern. You do at one point see this Sergeant Falone, and like we take like a number of like Harrimore guards, all wearing these similar sort of like grey overcoats and like boots, all sort of sat round a table. They're obviously part of like a group. You can see that they are drinking, but they're keeping it sort of quite limited. They're not like getting tanked up. They're just having like a sort of small beer, like a watered down beer, effectively, which, as you know, has like very little effect in terms of like the alcohol. It's just like it's safer than water. But they seem to be like largely pretty much in control of their faculties. They all seem to be quite sort of with it, you know, sort of like keeping an eye on the doors, you know, watching people coming in and out. And then gradually they start sort of drifting off and retiring for the evening as well. Okay, is there anything anyone else wants to do before we jump to the next day?
No, just
No,
get
I think
this.
so.
Okay, so Lieutenant, you continue to get right royally trousered over the course of the evening. So if you could please make me a constitution roll, Lieutenant.
Constitution. It's on its way.
No problems.
Come on, clicked it. Come on. Come through it. No. Oh, there.
Okay, so
Middle of the road.
you wake up in the morning. You're all waking up in your various places. You wake up in the morning and you have got a monstrous hangover, Lieutenant. It's not going to cause you any sort of modifiers or anything, but you feel rough. You know that sort of hangover where, like, when the light comes through, like the window, you're like, oh, why is
I'll
this
stick
sun
my
so
nearest-
bright?
Stick my head in the nearest water trough and just.
Okay, no problems.
Try and wake myself up.
So you're getting up, you're sort of dipping your head in the water trough. Obviously, you've been staying at like the Nurney Dairy, so that's fine. There's water troughs for the cows, and you do feel a bit refreshed. You start getting yourself together. You maybe have a bit of bread, etc. You're starting to feel a bit better after like a couple of hours have passed. And for convenience sake, I'm going to assume that you all sort of meet up. Now, since Jack does not here, I'm going to suggest we have like a short bathroom break here. You know, everyone go and like refresh their drinks, etc. We'll meet back here in like 5 minutes, and then we'll crack on with the rest of the day. How does that sound to people?
Perfect, yep.
Okay, splendid.
Good.
So we'll be back in 5 minutes, guys.
Did I cause a mass retreat?
No, we're just having. It seemed like an opportune moment to have a quick bathroom break and like refresh
Yeah.
drinks, etc.
Yeah, exactly what I did
Yeah.
on both accounts.
Exactly. It seemed like auspicious timing. So,
Yeah,
who am I to go against the wills of fate?
yeah, the call of nature.
Indeed. Okay. And who knows? You might even make it to the Abbey.
Yeah, we could finally live up to name of the session, really, at some point.
Yeah. How do you feel about how the session's going so far?
I enjoy it. I've enjoyed the whole sort of pause from whatever we've been doing for 13 episodes, I guess. Because it's again, I quite appreciate overall in this campaign we have sections of very different places and activities in those places,
Yeah.
and I really enjoy that.
Oh, cool. Well, I mean, I think it's the right thing. Like I say, I love a dungeon crawl and stuff like that. I think she's the next person. But I think if you're sort of constantly doing that
Yeah.
non-stop, it gets a bit samey. So it's nice to have, like, say, like the odd session every now and again where it's like it's interacting with a lot of NPCs.
Yep.
Like say, it's sort of relaxing a bit in a village and stuff like that. As a bit of a contrast and a bit of a break to that.
Yeah, and we have successfully sort of had almost 2 entire shopping sessions now, but there's been more stuff in there than just buying stuff. So we've sort of covered the shopping session with a marriage.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm never very keen on sessions with just basically like, oh, we're buying equipment somewhere.
Yeah.
Because, as you know, we discussed it previously, I think like that stuff you can do like between game. So like for instance, with like the market with this, obviously I said to you guys before the game, like you'll be able to buy any basic equipment. So feel free just to like cross off the coins and add it to your character sheet. That's fine because I don't think we need to dwell on you like going to a person and going like, oh, I want to buy a sword or whatever. You can just do that. That's fine. But I think it's nice to use these sort of sessions to like drop a few other things in. Like you've got like the legend of like the dragon and various like other things, and there's the strange sort of pink rosé goo from Drigbolton and stuff like that. All stuff that you can like either investigate or ignore as you see fit. But it's stuff that's like you got to interact with lots of NPCs if it's sort of quite laid back, but also there's potentially stuff you can jump off on in the future if you want to.
If we ever get out of this.
Well, that's it. And you see now Big Mick's married. You see, like you might be putting roots down here.
Yeah, but I have an exit plan.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
Which
I imagine it's a sharp and pointy exit plan. That
Yes,
studying people.
Yeah, it's a pointed exit plan.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting, and obviously I will sort of speak to Colin about this. Like if his character is like just going like, right, that's it. I'm staying in Brigwart.
Yeah.
I've got a wife. I'm inheriting a dairy. Never mind the Havenlands. Obviously, it's something to discuss. Like, 'cause obviously, if you go, the mainstay of the group's like, well, we're going back to London. I'll be like, well, if you're not going with them, it is pretty much like Jen a new character time.
Yeah.
Because like, and potentially, if you ever come back here, obviously, you could like guest shot as Big Mick again. But
Yeah.
we might have a bit of a chat about this when people get on. I'll just wait for Ian to get his headphones on. Okay, so I was just saying to Johanna, so I was waiting for you guys to get back. Obviously, we're going to sort of pick up with, potentially, if you guys still want to go to the Abbey, you can do that. I was just saying, if Big Mick does indeed decide to like put down roots in Prigwort, and he's like you say, oh, forget London, I'm staying here, I'm going to inherit the dairy, and like the mainstay of the group is like, well, we're going back to London or the Havenlands, that's pretty much going to be sort of Jen a new character time, Colin. If like Big Mick's staying here, which I am quite happy for you to do, if you are happy with it.
Yeah.
Or something can be worked out to get Big Mick back to the Havenlands with them. It's entirely up to you.
If everybody's piling back to London, I think it'd be insane to go back, really. But we don't know really what's going to come to pass here. It does all seem a little bit too good to be true.
I think what we'll probably do, if everyone's agreeable, is we'll carry on as we are until you guys like make that final decision. Like, yeah, we're getting on a boat and we're going back to the Havenlands or whatever. Then I think it'll come down to sort of like what you think at the time, Colin. You know, like if Mick's going to go with him, like say things might happen, you don't know. So
Yeah.
I think we'll just sort of handle it then. But I just wanted to check that like you're happy with that potentially being the outcome. Like if you do decide to stay here.
Yeah, yeah, obviously, yeah. Well, not obviously, clearly not obviously, but yeah. I'm happy to make the decision that seems most suitable for Mick. He's in no rush to go back to that Kazi, particularly.
Okay, splendid. So right, we'll carry on then. Okay, so you guys, it's the day after the market. Pretty much all of the traders have started heading back to their various places. The soldiers from Harramore are heading back to Harramore Keep, etc. The town's slowly emptying and resuming its normal sort of less frenetic pace of life. For argument's sake and for convenience, I'm going to assume that you guys all meet up to the dairy to discuss what your next move is. So you're all sat around in the farmhouse again. Rachel brings you all out some food and some drink and whatever. She's got a bit of a sort of a bit of a glow about her, a bit of a cheeky smile on her face. Obviously, she's newly married. Don't need to go into that.
Understandable.
So you guys are gathered around, ready to discuss what you want to do next. So have at it, guys. The sun is shining.
Well, we haven't managed to find out too much about this abbey, really, have we?
No, but we know where it is, and
Yeah.
I think it's still our goal. It's certainly still a friar's goal to
Oh, yeah.
examine it. But there's also I was also speaking to the wizard, and there's something very interesting going on up north in a town called Grigbolton. So before we arrived, there was a shooting star, and now there is a pink gelatinous substance that they are eating. That feels wrong.
I don't think we want to go there then.
I certainly think that it might be worth investigating, perhaps on our way back from the Abbey. It just feels unworldly.
Certainly does sound very strange.
So, and what about you, Jackdaw? Do you feel like a trip to Harrowmore Keep?
Yes, I've been. I have been accidentally exposed to information concerning the Harrowmore area, and it sounds an interesting locale. However, I do think we should concern ourselves with the Abbey first, regardless of anything else.
Perhaps we could get 2 weddings out of this trip.
It's all the rage.
Okay.
So
guys.
should we head out for the Abbey? So
Yeah, well, once we've got a good breakfast dinner in us, I'll thank my lovely wife and pack up my bags.
Okay, can you roll me a
Go on,
d6,
on,
please,
on,
Mick?
on.
A D6. Okay. I've just seen Jackdaw's wolfskin clothes. Wow. Quite impressive.
Yeah, swanky.
Yeah, wow. Jeez.
I paid a lot for them though. So.
Okay, so as you're all making plans to head out to the Abbey, and Rachel's helping you get your stuff packed, she says, "Oh, I heard that I heard Mummer the minstrel in town. He was singing a song about the abbey. He said that the crypts below it are haunted.
Are they?
Well, that's what he said in his song. Something about St. Clwyd fighting an evil beast to the abbey and it being haunted by monks. I didn't hear all of the tale. I was just passing by, but he definitely said it was haunted.
Ah, well, don't you worry, my love. We've got the good friar with us. He's top notch when it comes to dealing with hauntings and such things.
She
You've
doesn't
no
look
cause
entirely
for concern.
convinced, but she nods.
Oh, and hold on. Before I go, I better just leave you with this. Just for safekeeping, and I'll give her that bag of coins.
She
This is
nods.
your old man slipped these to me yesterday, but I think it'd be better if you look after them, love, whilst I'm not about.
Okay, you're sure you're not going to be any danger?
No, nothing old Big Mick can't handle. Rest assured.
Okay then.
And my companions will keep me out of trouble, no doubt. They've done so far. I place full faith in them.
We'll bring him back in one piece.
There you go. See,
She smiles at you, Lieutenant, and says, "Oh, thank you. That makes me feel much better."
right then, chaps. Should we head out?
Right. Let's go.
Okay, so you start heading out towards the abbey. Give me your token over there. There we go. So, as we said previously, the abbey is about 20 miles away from Prigwort to the west. As you travel, you follow a small river to the shores of a large crystal clear lake. You know this to be the same lake that provides the water to Prigwort, which makes it famous for its ales. As you start sort of heading through the trees, you see what appear to be an area of ruins, and I'm going to show you a map. Just give me a second, I'll move you on to that. I'm hoping you can all see that. Obviously this is just a sort of sketch map of the area, it's not entirely to scale, but okay, so you guys are approaching from the eastern end of this map. You see what appears to be a crumbled, it looks like the remnants of some sort of wall that perhaps went round the abbey itself, and there's a ruined old gate. It puts you in a little bit of a mind of the war at Prigwort. However, this was obviously actually used for fortifications. As you look across, you can see what appears to be a stone mausoleum with a graveyard next to it, quite sort of untended and overgrown. And there is also what appears to be a ruined bell tower just to the north of the old gate. Obviously, feel free to have a look at the map. You can see everything that's on there. I'm not going to sort of track people's specific movements. Like I say, it's just a sketch map to give you an idea.
Quite a bit of stuff there.
So, Friar, I think you have the lead here. What should we do?
What time of day is it, John?
By the time you get there, it's sort of early evening, so it takes you like a while to travel there.
So if it is truly haunted, we should probably find somewhere to hole up for the night. And that bell tower looks like a place that might be defensible. So perhaps we should go there and see what the evening and night brings.
Well, that does seem like the most substantial place.
Yes.
I agree.
All right. Shall we look at the tower first then?
Yes.
Okay, you start making your way towards this tower. As you do, as the darkness starts to fall, in the distance just behind the tower, you hear this.
Jacob Marley.
Who goes there?
And as you watch, you see this translucent figure wearing monk's robes. It appears to have a vaguely sort of greenish glow to it, but you can see through it. It sidles out from behind this bell tower. It has a large, sort of hunched back and a twisted frame. And it appears to be shambling slowly towards you. As it moves towards you, you see what appear to be coins and what look like jewels sort of falling out of its robe as it moves. But as they sort of hit the ground, they seem to evaporate as it moves along.
Did it engage when I spoke to it at all? No.
Didn't seem to.
Okay.
I don't like the look of that, Friar.
No, nor I. So I will take out my symbol of Gale and call on the power of Gale to.
As you take out your symbol of Gale and you start calling for Gale, the ghostly monk likewise reaches into its habit and takes out a holy symbol and sort of holds it up towards you.
Okay.
Oh, it's monkey business
it's
afoot here.
Evildoers may not enter the temple.
We are not evildoers.
As it says that, Jackdaw, you start feeling distinctly uncomfortable.
I'm hiding behind the Friar.
On a sort of like self-conscious moral level, or on a supernatural, Gale is judging me.
On a supernatural level, I mean, it's not like you're being turned or anything, but you do start
You're
feeling
being turned.
uncomfortable. You're like, it's not a case of like you're being repelled away like you've seen the Friar do. However, you're like, you can stay here, but you know, like, if you weren't investigating, you'd probably be thinking like, nah, I'm gonna give this a miss.
Yeah, probably. I'm gonna go to the evil club on the other side of the street. Yeah. Okay, so I'm backing away, like instinctively, on like down low, trying to just like inch away.
So as Jackdaw starts sort of like inching back, the ghostly monk carries on towards you, like brandishing this crucifix.
Oh dear.
And it's like, the brothers of the abbey cannot rest. There will be no evildoers within this holy place. And it sort of shuffles towards you with its hunchback and this crucifix held out.
So we have come to help your brothers rest. Will you let us pass?
As you say that, it stops and sort of turns towards you and it says, "Swear it by the light of Gale that you will see the brothers whose restless souls haunt these grounds, buried in the traditions of the church. Swear it by the holy light of Gale."
So I will pull the sword of Gale and say, I swear by this sword of Gale that I will see their bodies buried in the traditional manner.
As you do that and you unfurl the sword, which, unlike previously where it's sort of lit up with flames, now appears to have a sort of like an ambient like white glow to it. The monk smiles and then vanishes like a morning mist dispersing.
Nice one, Friar. Get in there.
Indeed.
Yes, for what it's worth, I also swear to put people in the ground.
And I'll probably say Gale before I do it.
Yes, and also Gale. Praise Gale.
Indeed.
Always.
Okay, so are you guys continuing towards the bell tower?
Yes, please.
Okay, so you head towards it, and it's like a subsidiary chapel. It's a tall square tower topped with a belfry. Now you're closer, the damage appears to be largely superficial. It's quite close to the ruined gateway where you can enter the abbey grounds. As you look up at the top of the tower, you can see like dark birds roosting on the top of it. You can hear them cawing.
Do they look like kind of natural birds, or are they?
Yeah, they look like crows or perhaps rooks. It's difficult to tell if you're looking up at them.
Okay. And is there a door? It's kind of hard to tell.
There is
I
indeed
guess
a
there
door,
must
yeah.
be.
It's a heavy wooden door. However, you just sort of like gently like push it, and it appears to like move easily. You could easily open it.
So I will call out hello in the tower and push the door open and see what happens.
Okay, you push the door open, saying hello in the tower. It opens into an old shrine which has a sort of a small statue of a young man stood there. You recognise this figure as Sunt Woad, who was primarily famed as like a man of peace. His most notable achievement, as far as you're aware with your religious learnings, is that apparently he once dissuaded a rampaging dragon from destroying a town by just speaking to it without ever like striking a blow on it. Some of the legends say that he offered the dragon a tribute. Some say it was baked goods. Some say it was his provisions. Some say it was just his faith. But he dissuaded this dragon and persuaded it to go in peace without ever drawing a weapon. And he was famous as a man of peace who was believed never to have drawn a weapon or struck someone in anger in his entire life. The small statues appears to be made of marble, and it's in an alcove by the south wall. It's pretty much undamaged. It's got like the name St. Woad next to it. It says underneath, patron saints of bakers, bears and hammersmiths. And then it has the founding date of the shrine, which would appear to be, if you've got your figures right, it will be about 1,000 years ago.
Ouch.
Patron saint of bears.
Bakers, bears and hammersmiths, according to the inscription.
That's unusual.
That's quite a strange combination of things.
Okay. And how big is the statue?
It's roughly human size, although it's a fairly sort of slight figure of a man. You can see there are stairs. Obviously, this is a bell tower. There's multiple floors. There are stairs heading up, which appear to be in fairly good condition. It looks like this place has been a bit neglected, but it's not like really run down. Like I say, there's a bit of superficial weathering on the outside of the building, but it's in pretty good nick inside.
Okay. And apart from the statue, is anything obvious in the room?
Nothing unusual that strikes your eye.
Okay. So then I'd like to head up to the next floor.
Okay, no problems. Are the rest of you going with the friar, or?
Yeah, follow on.
Yeah.
Okay, you head up to the next floor, friar. You sort of taking the lead. As you're you're just sort of lifting your head over to the next level. You stop. You can hear sort of slightly high-pitched voices. You think maybe they're like children's voices talking as you head up the stairs, and as you sort of like peek over, you can see what appear to be 3 children, unkempt and sort of dressed in like ragged, almost like urchin looking clothes. Their hands and nails have like dried mud sort of caked onto them, and they appear to be arguing about which of them is the favourite of. You listen for a little bit, and they appear to be arguing about which is the favourite of someone called Mr. Rag and Bone.
Okay.
Do they look like proper kids, or are they
Yeah,
kind of ghostly?
as you sort of peek over, they look like normal kids. One of them is a young blonde lad. He's probably about 5 years of age. There's a dark-haired, like dark-eyed young girl, maybe 5, 6, and then there's what appears to be a slightly older lad, maybe 8, 9, 10. He's a young strapping lad who has like sort of long matted black hair cascading down over his shoulders.
Hello there.
Sounds like a strange version of my kids.
As you say that, the 3 children jump. Obviously, they're not used to people coming in, and then the young dark-haired girl says, "Who are you?"
I'm Friar Dunstan. Who are you?
I'm Violet Harrimore.
Violet Harrowmore. And what are you doing here, Violet?
Oh, well, this is our special place. No one bothers us here. No one else was using it. And you get the feeling that she seems to be quite imperious, that she might be have a little bit of breeding to her from the way she's talking.
And that's the same name as the other.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
place and also the nobles that run it.
Okay. And who are your companions, Violet?
She says, she points at the young 5-year-old lad, the blonde lad, and says, "Well, this is Bilberry," and that she points at the older lad. That's Willie Hodgedge.
Okay. And how long have you been here for?
Oh, I don't know, a fair while.
Okay. And who is your friend, Mr. Ragnabone?
She says, "Oh, no, we shouldn't really be talking about that. I mean, we don't even know who you are."
Ah. And is there anything else? Is it just the 3 kids? There's nothing else in the room that's...
Not that you can see. However, you notice that the older lad with the long matted hair, he appears to be like holding something behind his back, and he's obviously trying to like conceal something behind his back, but he's like doing a bit of a piss poor job of it.
So I'll turn to Willie and ask him, what's behind your back, young man?
He's like, nothing. What? Why? What's it to you?
It's just a strange place to find 3 children, and I just very much would like to know what's behind your back.
He says, "Well, I don't see it's none of your business."
But what could it be that's so secret that you wouldn't tell me?
He eventually he sort of like he brings his hand round, and as he brings that hand in front of him, you see he appears to be holding some sort of dead animal akin to a stoat. It's obviously been dead for like quite some time. It looks like it's possibly been dug up. It's like covered in dirt and it's partly rotten.
Okay. Is that your pet?
He says, "No, so it's a present for somebody."
Mr. Rag and Bone, perchance?
At which point the Violet Harrimore sort of digs him in the rib, and she's like, "We're not supposed to talk about that." And he's like, "Oh, no."
How many levels are in the bell tower, do we know? Do we have any idea from the outside?
You think, assuming they're all similar to this one, there's maybe 3,
Okay.
based on the size of the building.
Okay.
I don't
Is
like
there
the
anyone-
sound of this rag and bone, man.
And that's including the ground floor as well. So, ground floor and
So one more, basically, yeah. Okay. So tell me, who's upstairs?
No one. There's no one upstairs.
Okay. Oh, well, then I'll just go up for a look.
Me
Have a
and
look
all.
at the bell.
He's like, "No, wait, you can't go up there."
Why not?
Well, he starts to say like he won't like it, which point Violet Harriman like digs him in the ribs again with her elbow, and she's like, "Shut up!" And he's like,
Yeah.
"Well, you just can't. That's all."
Okay. So I will just start walking towards the stairs.
Yeah, I'll follow up, and I'll point at that kid with this stoat, the one with the long hair. I'll say, "Yeah, son, give over that. Give us that stoat there."
Is that? I ain't giving it you. It's not for you.
What'd you say?
Is that? I ain't giving it you, fatty.
Would you just give me the damn stoat
He's like,
before I
"Nah."
give you a slap.
He's like,
Just give me
"Nah."
the soap. Give me the stoat, son. Don't be causing no trouble.
He takes like half a step away from you. He's like,
I'll just slide my coat back so you can see that big gladius.
you see his eyes widen, but he's like holding on to this stoat.
Give me the damn stoat before I give you a good hiding
He's like, "No."
and send you back to your mother.
He like shakes his head. Make me a charisma roll. I'm going to give you a +2 to the roll because you've like shown him the gladius.
D30.
Oof.
Boom.
Nice.
Give me the
Okay,
fucking
so
stoat.
after a while, he's like, "All right," then he passes this this dead stoat over to you. And
I'll take it off him. Get out of it.
He's like, as you take it off him, you notice something odd about it as you're sort of looking at it, and you sort of, as you pull back like the sort of like the lips of this stoat, you notice that someone appears to have like placed human teeth in its mouth.
Oh, well, that ain't freaky at all, is it? I'll hold it up and I'll show it to the others. I'll go, look at this. Look.
He shows you this stoat. It looks like someone's very like deliberately like removed the stoat teeth and then like put human teeth in their place.
Where did you get this, son?
So I took it up.
Where'd you dig it up from?
It says, out there in the big yard, where all the stones are.
That's a graveyard, dopey. Don't go digging in graveyard. Didn't your mother teach you nothing? Show a bit of respect.
He's like, well, that's what he likes. And at which point, like Violet Harriman like digs him in the ribs again.
Why did I know you was going to say that? What'd you make of this, Friar? Look.
Let's go and see who he is. And I'll walk up the stairs.
Okay, no problem. You walk up to the third and uppermost floor of this bell tower, entering the belfry itself. There is a great bronze bell hanging in the fixtures here, which looks to be in pretty good shape. There are these flocks of these sort of like these ravens or crows, sort of like around it, perched on the rafters, all cawing away.
I'm imagining you'd probably want me to keep an eye on these kids. Just...
Yeah, someone definitely should.
Practice your parenting skills.
Yeah. They're obviously lacking that sort of fatherly figure. And...
As you're looking around the belfry, Fry, you can see that at sort of regular intervals, strung up in this belfry, are what appear to be numerous dead and decaying animals sort of hanging from the rafters and the fixtures. And as you look at a couple of, there are like stoats and rats and weasels and things like that. And as you look at the few close to you, can see that all of them appear to have their teeth replaced with human teeth.
That's not creepy at all.
Indeed, as you look around, it's almost as though these dead animals are sort of smiling at you as they've got these human teeth are like too big for the mouth, so they're all like
Esther Ranson.
Okay. And have the Have the birds moved? Have they at all?
You look up and you notice that all the birds appear to be staring at you.
Okay.
Now you can see them more closely. They are all definitely crows,
Okay.
and they're staring at you with their beady black eyes.
Okay. So I'll call out at the top of my lungs. Show yourself.
A couple of the crows sort of like fluff their feathers, but nothing else really happens.
Okay. How many animals can I see?
Probably 15 to 20, like a small flock of them.
Okay.
Sort of spread out, all perched in the rafters. There might be more higher up. You can't really tell.
Okay.
You can hear this sort of.
So, is there any like loose gravel or stones on the ground or anything like
There's
that?
bits of stone chippings and stuff like that.
Okay, so I want to pick up a relatively big piece of chipping, and I want to throw it up at the crows and see if I can get them to fly away.
Okay, you throw it up at the crows, and you would expect them to like and scatter. However, they don't move at all. They just remain sort of watching you.
Okay. How big are they all like closely gathered together, or are they?
They're sort of spread out amongst the rafters, but I mean, obviously, it's not a massive building. And it,
Okay.
as with a lot of medieval architecture, it gets like narrower as it goes up because of the difficulties of like balance, etc. So.
Okay. So, what I would like to do is cast my sound burst and try and get as many of them as possible.
Okay.
Let me just work out what that. I think it's a radius of 20 feet. Let me just see.
That's fine. You'll probably get most of them because you're the confined space. So, you call on the power of Gale, and this loud like of sound bursts out. That does disperse the crows. They all scatter, sort of, and immediately you're all surrounded by this whirling crowd of these crows as they're sort of flying around the room.
Okay. So, okay, and have they? So I should roll damage for that and see how much damage they take and whether there's any left. Okay. So, okay, 3 points of damage. So I guess, I don't know if that's enough to kill a crow.
Yeah, probably one of the crows falls dead.
One, okay.
However, the rest of the swarm that have like dispersed, eventually they all flock together, and as they all sort of coalesce into one sort of roiling blob of feathers and beaks, they group together into what appears, and eventually transform into what appears to be a large, thin, gaunt humanoid form, which appears to be composed of these conglomerated feathers, bones, and beaks of all of these crows. Has like a long pointed face and hands which are made up out of the numerous claws of these different crows. Its body appears to be made of this mass of black feathers.
Okay. I knew you were there. Thanks for showing yourself.
In a sort of chord voice that seems to come from multiple different mouths across its form, this strange creature says, "What do you want?"
I wish to see the bodies of the monks returned to the graveyard.
What are the bodies of monks to me?
Hmm.
I do not care for your bodies.
Indeed. What do you care for, so?
only for my collection. And this creature gestures with its claw-like hand at all these dead animals. And of course, the children.
Indeed. Indeed. Well, I'm afraid I must take your collection and your children off you.
Okay, at which point I'm going to ask you all to roll initiative. Get them classic D10s out, boys.
Classic.
Oh, nasty.
Oh yeah.
We're going last together.
Strong with them ones, boys.
Yep. One is best, right? One's the best result.
Can Lieutenant Uffington save the day?
Yes,
Yes.
you can.
Yes.
He can. So let me just
I
sort
feel like I can hear you two playing in the background. Getting that one of them tracks off that whatever, not Unforgettable Fire album or something.
Okay, so Lieutenant Uffington, as Friar Dunstan says, "Oh, I'm afraid I'm going to take your collection off you," this figure breaks apart into this swarm, this flock of crows that all start flying towards you. However, you get to act first.
Okay. I shall then draw my sword.
Okay, no problems.
And just defend myself rather than attack.
Yeah, make an attack roll.
Batter them away as they come close. Did you want me to make a roll for
Yeah,
that?
make your attack roll.
Oh,
Little buggers.
Okay, you swing wildly with your sword. However, it's difficult to know how much damage you're doing. It's just like enveloped by this huge flock of crows. You can't fail to hit some of them as you're just going like that. But you're not really sure if you're actually damaging
say
the
that.
creature. You're knocking crows about left, right, and centre, but you've no idea what this thing
Feathers
is.
Cat.
Okay, so we're going to go on to the NPC. Now, since it's a swarm that's filling the space you're in, it can attack all of you. So, let me just make an attack roll. And basically how this works for a swarm is I just roll once and I compare it against all of your ACs. So, here we go. Okay, it's a 19, which I believe hits all of you. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you all take 2 hit points of damage as you're pecked, clawed, and sort of buffeted by this flock of crows that is swirling around you, sort of pecking at exposed skin, scratching you with claws.
So, John, sorry, I had some damage from way before. How many days did we spend?
At least 3 days, so you.
Yeah, okay. 3 is enough to get me up to full. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Okay, so Friar Dunstan, it's difficult to talk or even to hear each other or even see each other. You're surrounded by these black feathered bodies, this loud cawing of these birds as they fly around. But obviously you've been injured. You can feel the pain of a number of small wounds across your body.
Okay, so I will take out the Sword of Gale, and I will do my very best to hurt this creature.
Okay, no problems.
11.
Okay, You thrash around again, rather like Fried Unson. You strike some crows, but you're not really sure if you're doing any damage.
Okay.
Okay, Jackdaw in the midst of this swarm.
I will retrieve my short bow, and I will shoot the swarm, I guess.
Okay, yeah, make your attack roll.
Yeah, I will try and put an arrow through one of these. So I've set that up correctly, I believe. So here goes, short bow. Come on, buddy. Nah.
Okay, you fire off an arrow into the mass of feathered bodies. You do hear some loud cawing, but again, you're not really sure if any damage has actually been done, since you can't see more than like a couple of feet in front of your face, and you can just see like black feathers and beaks and claws coming at your face. Big Mick. You're muted.
Does it look like any of these crows are getting injured?
Difficult to tell.
None of them are going down.
Not as far as you can see. You've not like, heard any like, crow death throws or anything, but literally all you can hear around you is a cacophony of fluttering wings and screeching crows. It's quite deafening, especially given the acoustics of this belfry.
I feel like there's more to this than meets the eye, but I'm not getting any brain waves. It's what is the essence of this thing? What could I've got this stoat.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna like throw this stoat down on the ground in the hope that it will draw the attention, because this is a new thing for the collection. That's what I'm gonna do. I feel like swinging my sword is gonna be ineffectual.
Okay, you throw this, so like, trying to get a bit of distance on it, you throw this stoat down on the floor, and as you do so, the crows once again sort of mass together and form into this humanoid form, sort of crouched over this stoat on the floor, so like reaching out almost to caress it with this claw-like hand, like, and it sort of quite tenderly, like seemingly like having forgotten you guys, like picks up this stoat and sort of is looking at it. Then it moves over to near where the other creatures are hung up, and it starts very sort of gently and seemingly with great care, sort of like looking for a place to hang this animal, seemingly having forgotten about you guys.
We could bug out.
It's up to you guys. You've got a few precious moments where you can now converse without the cawing of these crows.
This thing is not a natural. I'm not sure that your blows are being effective. I mean, there's no fallen crows, and you know, you're muted, Fire.
Can I cast Detect Evil on it and see if it's truly evil?
Okay, you cast Detect Evil. Surprisingly, it's not evil.
Hi.
Jackdaw is. It's not,
Okay.
surprisingly.
Sorry, I kind of missed that. It's not evil?
No.
The animals' mouths are full of human teeth. That's not good. That's blasphemous.
It's blasphemous, but it may not really be all that evil.
Okay.
I mean, it's not out and out evil, is it, to sort of just be a bit weird?
Mm.
I mean, you know,
Somebody is.
as long as you
somebody is-
didn't kill the humans and then take their teeth. Somebody's what? Sorry.
Should I say somebody is obviously killing humans, taking their teeth, putting them onto creatures and burying them, and then someone is unburying them and then hanging them up.
Yeah. So there's nothing to say. This guy. No, that's right. The kids are digging them up. They've
Yeah.
already got the teeth in them at that point, haven't they?
Yeah.
Don't know.
Well, because this boy, the kids were bringing the stoat to this
Should we be having this conversation not here?
elsewhere. Yeah. I reckon. I reckon we bug out. If this is not out and out evil, I've not got a massive beef. I've not got a massive beef with Crow Man at this point. But I'm no priest or noble or dude from Dead River, dude.
Well, let us leave.
Yeah, well, I'm with you, Jackdaw. You know, I'm with you.
So
Okay.
As you turn to leave, you hear the creature from behind you says, "Children, children, bring me more for my collection." And you hear like footsteps coming up the stairs. And you see like the three children from the floor below walking up the stairs. They look quite happy there. They sort of like move to go around you and carry on up the stairs.
Are they detecting as evil since the spell is probably still alive?
Nope.
Okay.
Perhaps we should just see what goes on.
They head round you and they head into the room. They seem quite happy to approach this strange sort of crow-like figure. It reaches out with its clawed hand and sort of almost gently like strokes the cheek of each of the children, and then says, "What else do you have to bring me?" The 8-year-old lad with the matted hair says, "Well, I did have that over there, but this big guy like took it off me," and he's like, "It is no matter. It is now part of my collection. Go find me other things to add to my collection. Bring them to me." At which point the children are like, "Oh, okay," and then they start heading back down the stairs.
I reckon we should follow the kids.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, you follow the children. They head southwards to where the graveyard is, and they literally start like digging in the ground with their bare hands in like the soft soil.
So Violet, tell me who buries these animals with the human teeth?
Oh, no one buries animals with human teeth. We find the animals, and then we find the teeth in here, and then we put the teeth in the animals. That's what he likes. And she smiles at you as though it's the most normal thing in the world.
Oh man, the bleeding kids are putting the teeth in there. Oh jeez.
Why does he like the teeth in them?
Oh, I don't know. He says he says he likes adding them to his collection. Well, he looks after us, so we like to help him out.
How does he look after you?
Well, he makes sure none of the ghosts or anything like that bother us. And as long as we're in the building or he's keeping an eye on us, we're safe.
Okay.
So what is this creature? Do you know?
He's Mr. Rag and Bone Man.
And not a ghost.
Well, no, don't be silly.
Okay. So I think our quarry lies elsewhere then.
Hmm.
I wonder if
So-
we could get him to protect us.
Well, not with shooting and stabbing, I don't think.
Mick did give him a prize, though. So tell me, Violet, where do the ghosts come from, and who else is in the? What other creatures lie here?
He says, "Oh, well, they come from that big old ruined church building over there, but they're all sort of wandering around. Some of them say things, others don't even seem to know we're here. They all look different. Some of them ask us things.
What did I ask you?
So I said, well, I saw one of them at one point, and he said he wanted he wanted a skull taken into the old church, but I didn't want anything to do with it, so I ran back to the bell tower, and they don't go in there because Mr.
Okay.
Ragamboman's in there.
And is there anything in the abbot's quarters or the well or anywhere else, or is everything in the ruined chapel?
Oh, but that's where we see most of the ghosts, but we don't go into many of the buildings. We mostly stay in
Okay.
the bell tower, apart from when we come down here.
Okay. Can I examine the mausoleum since it's nearby?
You most certainly can.
So this is a bit of a touch. We've got a safe. We potentially got a. Sounds like this is a safe spot. That bell tower. If we get in, if we need to get in there, because we were gonna get some rest in that at some point. It sounds like Mr. Rag and Bone Man keeps the spirits away. So that's worth bearing in mind, I think.
Okay, so you head over to the mausoleum. It's quite a tall, sort of must have been once quite a fine building. Towers over the much smaller funerary monuments dotted around the graveyard. Seems to be in pretty good shape compared to most of the other buildings you can see. Although what look to be the remnants of like statues of angels and other sort of celestial beings are damaged and weather worn with like bits chipped off them and bits missing. The occasional like limb or head is missing off some of the statues. There are heavy stone tomb doors, but they stand a little bit ajar. Above the threshold, you see an inscription in Latin that reads, "In death, all men are equal."
Ooh. Would I have any idea of whether that's a religious thing or a, a heraldry thing?
It
Is that
appears to be it's not particularly religious, but obviously you know that it is part of religion that when people die and go to their judgment, that people are judged on their actions rather than by like their birth or anything like that. So it could refer to that.
okay? Okay, so let me. I want to creep up to the door and have a little look in.
Okay, no problems. As you head up to the door, you can see what appear to be the marks of some sort of tool has obviously been used to like prise the door open. Big Mick looking at it, you recognise the telltale signs of like a crowbar has been used to like prise these mausoleum doors open.
Yep.
Okay.
As you peer round the door, Friar, you can see inside what appears to be a grubby looking sort of small elven looking creature, about 4 foot tall, sort of saggy, jaundiced skin, and as it's sort of turned to face this sideways onto you, you can see it appears to have needle sharp teeth. It's dressed in sort of filthy, ragged, sort of earthy coloured clothes, and it appears to be trying to reassemble the bones of a skeleton, sort of laying them out on the floor.
Okay. So I'll kind of open the door a small bit and call out to the creature.
It sort of looks up at you, and it's like, I just can't find the teeth.
Hmm. Why do you need the teeth?
It looks at you as though like you're asking it something really dumb, and then it's like, well, but because it's not complete.
Oh,
I've
And why does
I've
it-
got all the pieces. I've got the skull, I've got the rib cage, I've got the pelvis, I've got the arms, the legs, everything but the teeth.
okay.
As it sort of like turns more fully towards you, you can see that obviously it's got these sharp teeth and this weird sort of elven-like face. But the most odd thing about it is its nose appears to be like the shape of a tap.
A tap.
The tap. Okay. Is it presenting as evil?
No.
No. And who are you, my good man? And
And what's with the tap?
It laughs at you and then it says, well, Scraby's the name.
Scrave.
Scraby!
Scraby. And what are you doing here, pray tell?
As you're saying that, it looks across to the corner of the room, and you notice that one of the little patches of shadow appears to be getting darker, and it suddenly goes, "Oh no, fuck this!" And there's like a flash of light, and where this creature was standing, there's now like a little worm on the ground that starts burrowing into the ground.
Okay.
Oh, that ain't a good sign, is it?
No, it's not. And is there something moving in the shadows now?
As you watch, the shadow seems to detach itself and form into a small, stunted, jet black humanoid with only the rudimentary traces of features on it. It appears to flow in a semi-liquid like form towards the bones on the ground, and what appears to be like an arm or perhaps a limb is extruded from the central shadowy mass and appears to be sort of like moving the bones about a little bit.
Okay.
It's not something you see every day, is it?
No, really, it's not. Does it present as evil?
Nope.
Nope.
Hi.
He's still there. He's still
You're
there.
gonna have 50 minutes of Jackdaw glowing. Okay.
As you're sort of looking around, in a sort of burbling, semi-liquid voice that emanates from this figure of shadow, it says, "If you can find me the missing teeth, I will tell you secrets."
The missing teeth.
And this limb
Yeah, well, they're all up in the
flows out
belt.
across the skull.
They're all up in the
Okay.
bell tower, aren't they?
Hmm. Why is it that you need the teeth?
To complete the skeleton.
Sorry, you broke up there, John, for a second.
To complete the skeleton.
Skeleton.
Whose skeleton is this? Why is it so important?
It says, "This is the skeleton of Archimandrite Hecadecadion."
Oh, that's a catchy old name you got there.
Oh.
You'd need your teeth in for that one.
Say that one again, John.
Archimandrite Dodecadion.
Hackety, hackety, hackety.
And was he an abbot here?
This is his mausoleum.
Hmm. And why do you need a complete skeleton?
Well, how can someone rest if they are not complete?
Hmm.
If you can help me complete his skeleton, I will tell you secrets.
Hmm. How would we know which teeth are his?
I will know.
Dang, we need all the damn teeth.
Hmm.
I cannot go within the bell tower. The gloam is there.
And what is your name, pray tell?
I am a scribe.
Muted, John.
I am a scribe.
And sorry, what was the last guy? He was a scraby?
A scribe.
Gravy.
And why does the scraby want the teeth? Yeah, scraby.
The scraby was working for me, but you've scared him away.
Okay. Because it sounded like
You scared him away.
you scared him away.
Perhaps he is concerned that I would be angry he had not recovered the teeth.
Sorry, I can't hear you, John.
Perhaps he is concerned that I would be angry he had not discovered the teeth.
Mm.
Do you know what a scraby and a scrike is, Friar?
I have no idea.
Is it not in none of them books of yours?
No.
Fat lot of bleeding good they are then.
Hmm.
Once I have the teeth, I can feed and I can return home.
Sorry, we missed the start of that, John. Sorry.
If he has the teeth.
Indeed, if I have the teeth, I can feed and return home.
And what do you feed on?
Completeness.
And where is home?
I reside in the glade where the great worm's blood was spilled.
Ah.
I know many things.
Hmm.
Hmm. And why do you need to feed to return home?
Everything needs to feed.
But you said you needed to feed before you could return home.
Yes.
Well, perhaps it's a long journey.
That's a lot of dice.
And it's a better roll than the last one, too.
Everyone takes 31 damage.
Everyone is dead.
Well, what do you think, Father? I mean, Friar. I mean, this is...
As you're sort of debating this, you hear a voice from outside go, "Quickly, we need to get the books to safety!"
Yeah, I will run out.
Yeah, me too.
You run
Yeah,
out,
now that we got a good excuse to leave, I will.
you run outside and you see another one of these
Oh.
green, hazy, translucent figures.
Oh,
one,
no.
however,
Out of the
appears
frying
quite-
pan into the fire.
appears quite portly and rotund. He's holding a large book under one translucent arm. He looks quite panicked and he's like, "Quickly, we've got to get the books to safety."
Is there a chase going on, or
He keeps looking over his shoulder as though he's being pursued, but you can't actually see anybody.
Good sir, how are you? Are you well?
He turns towards you and he says, I'm sorry, I don't have time to talk. We need to get the books to the main hall for the concert."
For the concert? What concert?
Indeed. All of the hymn books will be required.
Hmm. And where is the Great Hall?
Well, in the chapel, of course, and he gestures with one of his gauzy, transparent arms
Okay.
towards the chapel.
Okay. And what has you out here?
Well, I'm looking for the books. Some of the brothers take them to study in their private times or to practice their singing. But I seem to have lost them. I can't find them.
Okay.
We've bumped into Brian Blessed.
What year is it, my son?
He says why it's the year 1025, of course.
How far adrift is that?
Well, it's the year 1250 for you guys.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. What can you tell me about Archimandrite Hecadecadion?
Who?
Archimandrite Hecadecadion.
He says, "Oh, Archimandrite Hecadecadedon."
Yes.
He says, "Well, yes, he's a good, honourable, fine, upstanding abbot of the abbey. Fine man. Very learned, very learned.
Is he old?
Well, he's not in the prime of his youth, but I'm sure he's got many more years left to him. Anyway, look, I can't stand around here. I've got to go and get the psalm books ready for the concert." And he hurries off towards the chapel. He gets about 6 steps away from you, and then he disperses like mist.
Okay.
I wonder if that concert's significant. Wonder if something happened at that concert.
250 years. 225 years. Okay. Should we check out the well? Since we're here?
What do you think about them teeth? If we do get them teeth, do we want to get them to that thing?
I am unsure.
Shrike. I think, yeah, shrike. Yeah, I'm a bit unsure. That seems a bit demonic. But it's not evil, is it? You buzzed it out for that.
I did.
Do you think your magic's working properly?
I don't know.
We cannot doubt Gale, surely.
Well, nobody's doubting Gale, but
it's working for Jackdaw, right? So I do actually know that it's working.
Have you actually told me about this? The fact that Gale is like, yo.
yeah,
I guess
you
because
you
you're
wouldn't
the
necessarily know, would you? Unless you got
because you're the heir and kind of keeping it to myself. But I would be confident that it was working.
Yeah, I'm the reference point, right? I'm the reference banana.
If you don't glow, it ain't working.
Yeah. But I'm also kind of in denial because like you're the hope I have to save. So I kind of like don't even look.
They're like, yeah. I'm the email you always switch back to unread.
You hope for the day when he doesn't glow.
Okay, so you've been talking about this while you're on your way across to the well. It's there's partially intact walls near the well, and there's what appears to be a small courtyard. It might once have been a garden. The flower beds are long since overgrown with wild forest plants, and all the paving stones are cracked around it. At the centre is a crumbling stone well, almost completely overgrown. You have to clear some brambles out of the way. It takes you a little bit of time, but looking down into the well, you can see a deep shaft running into the ground, probably about 50, 60 feet down.
Okay. Not today, I don't think. Let's check out the room. ruined chapel.
I have the rope if we want to do something later.
Okay, you make your way over to the ruined chapel. It's a weather-beaten, dilapidated, old ruin. The roof seems to have been destroyed probably many centuries ago. But as you look, you look around, you can see about fragments of it scattered around, as though there was some sort of great explosion which blew the roof off. There's a strange sort of metallic wheezing and scraping sound emanating from within the chapel. And as you peer inside, you can see that the interior is overgrown with vines and climbing plants. Sickly looking yellow fungi push up through the paving stones, and colonies of bracket mushrooms infest the long rotted pews. There are a number of tapestries hanging around, probably once sporting vivid designs, but they're now worn away by time and the elements, hanging listlessly from soot-stained pillars. The main altar in the middle shows signs of more recent use. There are stumps of candles, wilted flowers, and spoilt offerings, along with some stains of an unknown origin. And that is where we're going to end the session for this evening, guys, as you look into the ruined chapel. So
Just managed to get your mushrooms in there.
Yeah, said the M word.
Just managed to get them in there. Snuck them in.
Yeah, mandatory. We tick the box.
Kind of an OSR game without having some shrooms in there. So thank you very much for playing, guys. Obviously, I hope you all enjoyed the session. I'm obviously quite happy to chat for a bit afterwards, but for now we're going to wrap up this session and we'll kick off next time with you guys exploring the ruined chapel, the Abbey of St. Cloud. So until we see you next time, take care. We'll catch you soon.
Bye.
Bye.